sports station. Nobody in Kansas City has sports like 96.5 The Fan.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City! A 3-yard touchdown pass in overtime. Kansas City wins the game.
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Fan Studios. Here's CDOT.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You are listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very excited to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. So I'm going to give you the schedule, and then we'll proceed. Today is kind of like our Wednesday. We usually really start the game preview stuff on Thursday, but we're going to bump that up one day. When you got a game like this of this magnitude, that is the most important game in the AFC, it deserves a little bit extra. So we're going to start our game preview stuff tomorrow. We are still going to talk a little bit of Chiefs and Broncos. We're going to talk about the update regarding where the Royals are going to play and the report earlier that we got from Bob Fesco. We'll do that here coming up in a little bit. Joshua Brisco is going to be on the show. We are going to play our conversation with Patrick Mahomes. I got a chance to catch up with him earlier today. We'll play that for you coming up at around 3:15. We'll also have Matt Verierman of Sports Illustrated. He is going to be on the show coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. So we got a lot to get into between now and then. Again, my name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be here. Rob is here as well. We are going to also have a commercial-free 5 o'clock hour. I don't know if you guys know this, but KU plays a little bit earlier, so the competition gets off a little earlier. So you know what? We're taking advantage here over at 96.5 The Fan. We are going to be commercial-free for the entire 5 o'clock hour. You are going to get more of The Drive, not less of The Drive today. We got to make up for all those Royals games. You're going to get more of The Drive today coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. To quote Eddie Murphy from Coming to America, I am very happy to be here. Rob, give him a pizza.
Pizza time on The Drive. Carrington, dial me up right now. Call number 6, 913-586-7965. Call number 6 wins up pizza from our friends over at Pizza Tasio. Pizza Tasio is Kansas City's best New York-style pizza, and they have taken over the town. They got locations all over the city. They got some in Waldo, Belton, North KC, OP, and Midtown. They also have a killer selection of craft and local beers, plus unique wines. So whether you're hungry enough for a whole pie or just want a slice or two, be sure to visit them now. PizzaTasio.com. That's pizza, TASCIO.com.
All right, I need you guys to give me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day at 2 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. Number two, I need you to tell one friend. I don't need you to tell two friends. And you know what? Number three, I need you to tell people that today Patrick Mahomes is coming on the show, and we're also going to have a commercial-free 5 o'clock hour. All right, let's start here. I am not saying that people are not telling the truth. I am simply telling you that I don't know who to believe on this topic anymore. And it seems like one of those things, if you ask this side a question, they'll give you this answer. If you ask this side a question, they'll give you a completely different answer. So I, the consumer, the concerned voter, am willing to throw my hands up and say at this point, I don't know. Some of this is going to be telling you what I know, at least from talking to people behind the scenes. Some of the open is going to be me telling you what I feel from just paying attention to this thing. But let's move forward. Earlier today, Bob Fesco on Fesco in the Morning, Dusty and Fesco, whatever the name of the morning show is now, I want to play for you his update of the stadium future. Here's Bob Fesco.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now, and I think from what the conversations I was having with a lot of people yesterday, this thing is going to move fast and it's going to move quickly, and we're going to know maybe by the winter meetings where the Royals are breaking ground on their new stadium. And I talked to multiple sources on this now, so I have it confirmed from two different folks about what's going on right now in Kansas City, if you will, and I use the air quotes Kansas City on this one, because from what I've been told, the Royals are in real and advanced discussions with the state of Kansas to potentially build their new stadium in Johnson County.
Now, where would that location be?
Well, there are a couple locations that I'm hearing right now. There's a location right inside the 435 loop around Antioch, is what I've been told, is one location. And then the location that I think a lot of people are very fond of is 119th and Knoll on the old Sprint campus. And there, they already have 5 parking garages that exist.
All right. I'm going to try to tread lightly here because I don't want this to come off like I am trying to poke holes in Bob Fescoe's reporting. I got the utmost respect for Bob Fescoe, and I believe that he was told this from people that matter. But what I think is the problem with this story, and is what has been a theme from this story, is someone tells Bob something, someone tells me something, someone tells somebody from the other station something, and we all are just more confused by the developments. I don't believe that any portion of this has moved fast with the Kansas City Royals. So that part from Bob, I just don't believe it because that hasn't been the case really at any juncture related to this story. We voted on this thing, in April? We're heading into Thanksgiving. Rob, have we gotten something meaningful, something tangible that you could hold from the Kansas City Royals? They've thrown out a couple of ideas. Well, what about Washington Square Park? Well, what about up north? Well, what about Kansas? Well, what about this? I don't think the Royals know at this point. So it's hard for me to believe that we go from no information to what we had during voting time, which I think was misinformation, to now thinking that the Royals are going to put something together here in the next 30 to 45 days. The holidays are coming up. Now, maybe the Royals are a little bit different because the winter meetings, but if their job is anything like my job, are people more productive during the holidays or less productive? We all work in the office, right? Or you at least have at some point. Are people more inclined to work on December 10th or less inclined to work as we get closer to the holidays? You got holiday parties coming up, Christmas shopping coming up, New Year's coming around. No, I just don't believe it. Again, not here to poke holes in my brother Bob Fescoe. This is not intended to do that. I don't want you guys to take it that way. I'm just trying to take in the information. We had the mayor of Kansas City on last week. He has been steadfast this entire time that the Royals are staying on the Jackson County side. But of course, he's the mayor in Jackson County.
My view is a very simple one, that the Royals will be playing downtown 10 years from now. I have not wavered, because here's the thing that is interesting, right? We've gone through every drama known to man. There was a conversation last January, will Jackson County put it on the ballot? There was the April vote, no. Everybody was, saying all of these horribles are incurring. There was then the Star Bonds vote. Oh, my God, they're leaving tomorrow. Nothing happens. Nothing keeps happening. What we do need to do are a few things. Kansas City government has continued to talk to the Royals. I think I've met with them now. We did the math the other day about 21 times. We're going to continue to have active and robust discussions. I talked to the governor-elect of Missouri today. We're from different political parties, but we have a shared view on the importance of keeping these teams in Kansas City. I think you're going to see a very active effort from him. He is already connected to the current gubernatorial administration, but I think you have a governor-elect going in with this as a priority. It is City Hall's priority. The chat about baseball a lot lately has been how can the city help handle that, with perhaps a state and county conversation as to the Chiefs. And I think you're going to continue to see more progress in us getting all of this done. I think the Royals want to see that done. Certainly local government does. I think the governor-elect does. Members of the Missouri legislature, I've met with them too, all Republicans. I'm doing my reach across the aisle. This is too big a deal for the state of Missouri and the city of Kansas City.
This is my read on the report from earlier today from Bob Fescoe. And again, this is not a knock on Bob Fescoe. This is just my read on it this entire time. I maintain that the Royals are not moving to Kansas. This feels to me like what we have seen basically this entire time. The Royals are frustrated with Jackson County or the city of Kansas City for how this thing is coming together, and they continue to throw alternative stadium ideas out there when in their heart of hearts, they really want to be downtown. That is all John Sherman has ever talked about. I don't believe that if you are John Sherman and you help rally up $1 billion to buy the Kansas City Royals, who have a bad television contract, I don't think you did all of that to then move the Royals to 119th and null. I think you moved them, or you bought them with the intention of moving them into the city and putting them around the Sprint Center and putting them around Power and Light and around all the apartments that continue to pop up out of nowhere. They're moving on to 4 Light downtown. Maybe this is just my Kansas City, Missouri. Maybe this is just my Jackson County as a proud resident of somebody who lives on the Missouri side. I refuse to believe that the Royals are doing all of this to move to 119th and all. And the problems that would exist if they move to 119th and all, isn't that kind of the same problems that they have now? Now, I get it. Some of you live on that side and you have said, well, I'm not going out there. There's nothing else to do. Maybe I'll go on the weekend. Isn't that going to be the same case for people that live on the Missouri side? If you're somebody that lives in Lee Summit, somebody that lives in Blue Springs, somebody that lives in downtown, are you driving out to 119th and all for a Tuesday night game against the Detroit Tigers? The answer is probably not, just based on the history of the Royals and once the newness of the stadium wears off. So we obviously will see. We'll track this thing. I am not anticipating that we are going to get an update on this thing until after the first of the year. I could absolutely be wrong on this thing, but the Royals have taken their sweet time in all of this. I don't think that we are going to go from sort of radio silence from the Royals to now just getting updates and concrete information on this thing coming up in the next 30 days. If there's one thing that the Royals have not given us in 2024, it is concrete information about where they want to play. They've told us they want to play somewhere else. They have never really been strong on where they want to play and what the idea is going to be, other than we would like to be in downtown Kansas City. I also think that the people of Kansas City, Missouri want them to stay. Now, this is a separate conversation for the Chiefs because I think what the Royals and the Chiefs want are drastically different. But I do think the Royals have been pretty emphatic about one thing. Their desire is to stay in Missouri, and their desire is to be in downtown Kansas City. Coming up on the other side, we'll be joined by Joshua Brisco, who covers the Chiefs for Sports Illustrated. We'll get his thoughts on one of the more exciting regular season wins for the Chiefs during the Mahomes era. Patrick Mahomes coming up in an hour. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Well, I'm Phil Sims. I played pro football for 15 years. People always ask me, what am I doing now? And I tell them about Balance of Nature, that I'm taking that. I try to eat right. I would say Balance of Nature is a big part of having a happy life because I know I'm doing something that's really good for me. It's going to help me in many aspects of my life. I do it.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off with your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code
Phil.
It takes a lot to prepare for game day as a dedicated fan, and preparing the perfect tailgate meal might be most important of all. That's why Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise is the MVP. Hellmann's Mayonnaise is the secret to bring out the rich and creamy taste to all your game day dishes, from buffalo chicken dip to your favorite sub sandwich and everything in between. So give it a try, and mayo game day be delicious with Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise. Shop at your local Walmart, Kroger, or grocery store, and add some extra deliciousness to your game day dishes this football season.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Dick Ray, he's your heating magician. Dick Ray, he's a man on a mission. In the dead of winter when the furnace is broken and a chill is in the air, you can call Dick Ray and he'll fix it up with care. He's always there. Call Dick Ray, he's your heating magician.
Hey, it's Dick Ray. Schedule your furnace tune-up today. Only $79. Call 913-DICK-RAY.
Your coworkers might annoy you, but we promise we won't. Download the free Odyssey app and you can listen to us at work while you tackle your inbox or get ready for another meeting that probably could have been an email. Tune in late? You can rewind your favorite live shows to catch what you missed. And with Chapters, easily jump to the topics that you care about most, like the latest updates from your team. Your sports talk, your way. The Odyssey app. Download it today.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's George Karlaftis. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, let's head to the phone lines. This might be a short appearance from Josh Brisco. It really could be. He's been on thin ice these last couple of weeks for very different reasons. Josh, let's go ahead and get this out of the way early. Drums or flats?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Drums narrowly? I don't have a strong opinion. If you need to hang up on me, I get it.
No, that's perfectly fine. This has been my opinion on this. I don't know why we spend so much time debating this. It's like, is a hot dog a sandwich? I don't care. Just give me a good hot dog, and I don't really care what classification you would put it in. I think a hot dog is its own entity. I like flats more than I like drums, but it's chicken. As long as it's cooked well and well seasoned, I don't really care what part of the bird you give me. I'm going to eat it.
I know you have such a strong 3 strikes and you're out policy, so when you asked that question, my life and really my childhood flashed in front of my eyes, because I've always enjoyed a good, like, a turkey leg, even the drumstick off a rotisserie chicken, like that was always just, it was going to feel like a caveman eating your lunch, you know? And so I still lean drums given the opportunity with wings, but I really do not have that strong of an opinion. I think I've moved in the direction of the flats as I have put away my childish things. But I'm with you. That is not a debate worth wasting our breath over by and large. I can certainly meet you there.
Okay, so this is the last question, then we'll get to the Chiefs, because you covered the Chiefs of Sports Illustrated. You do a great job.
Thank you.
Denzel Washington was on the Today Show earlier today and said that he is winding down his career. He's only got a handful of movies left, and he's going to step aside, but he is going to be in the next Black Panther movie. I ask you, what is your favorite Denzel Washington movie?
Gladiator 2.
How can that be your favorite movie? You've never seen it.
It's going to be good.
You already have that number 1 on your list, even though you haven't. That's your favorite Denzel movie. You've never seen it.
Remember the Titans.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. The most standard one.
That's not even true. That's definitely not true. What I hate now is I'm trying to figure out if there was a definite answer that I should have had. And the best thing I could do, I think, was just jab, Gladiator 2, Gladiator 2, Gladiator 2, Equalizer 3.
Okay. All right. I was definitely going to challenge you there. All right. Let's get to this. I guess maybe this is the big picture. Maybe it's too big of an answer here and you can't remember. What's your favorite regular season Chiefs win? I remember when I was a kid, I think they were playing the Chargers. Maybe I'm off just a little bit here. And Dick Vermeil I think it was the Raiders actually, now going back. And Dick Vermeil made the decision to go for it late in the game, and they did an over-the-top with Larry Johnson. I was at that game. It was a great regular season win. Like, when Mahomes' career is over and we start to make lists of all this was the 10 greatest games that Mahomes played in, from a regular season perspective, that's going to be near the top of the list. That's a pretty improbable win for them to essentially block an extra point to win.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly will be one of the most memorable. I don't know if it will be anyone's favorite or the most fun or the most impressive from Mahomes or any of that. The Mahomes one that stands out to me is very easy for me because it's the only Mahomes game I've seen in person. But it was the 49ers game, his first home game as a starter, I think. It was his week 3, so maybe it was second. I can't remember exactly. But he did the first sort of now like vintage Mahomes little run backwards, loop around, come around and fire an absolute dart to, I believe, Chris Conley in the back of the end zone. And I remember the noise that Therese Paylor made in the press box that day. In reaction to that moment. So that's my Mahomes one as my like individual one of one. But that's, again, that for me is because I got to be there in person and to see Mahomes do that really felt like it was kicking off something of what the Mahomes era was going to look like. Within the last like several years, you almost have to go pre-first Super Bowl, I think, for them to feel like they mattered as much, because obviously all the postseason success has totally changed the scale for what a meaningful game is for this team.
I mean, they've had 4 games like this season where we talked about this yesterday on the show. I mean, I think the only team that we followed over the course of the last 30 years that win all 4 of those games are the Chiefs. So whether it was the week 1 game against the Baltimore Ravens, week 2 against the Cincinnati Bengals, where they get the penalty on 4th down, they then go down the field and score, last week against Tampa Bay where they win in overtime, and this past week against the Denver Broncos, like they've had 4 of those shoulda, coulda, woulda games, but the difference between the great teams and the good teams are you find a way to win. We watch Sunday Night Football. There's no reason that the Lions should have won that game. You don't throw 5 interceptions on the road and then beat a playoff team the way that they did. You also don't win some of the games the way that the Chiefs have unless you were just a special team.
Yeah, and this is something I talked about last night during my show there, that there is always this kind of like 2 faces of the coin for me of this idea of finding a way to win, because that idea and that statement's very ethereal. That's very vibes based, right? But then you have the concrete side on the other side of preparation and talent and execution. And when you flip that coin, you have to be just as confident in both elements. The concrete thing, like with the blocked extra point, they saw that on film. They knew they could bowl the guard over. Teams have been doing it. The Chiefs did it. And then Leo Chanel does it in the biggest moment. But also Derek Nottie pulls his guy down. George Karlaftis wins. Justin Reed gets a great jump off the edge, and it freaks out the tackle there as well. They totally defeat that side of the line. That the Broncos put it on the correct hash mark for them to do that against. That's preparation, that's execution, that's talent, and that's confidence in your players. So that's the concrete stuff. The vibey ethereal thing is that I think if you're a Chiefs player, you have to go out there for that final kick, like in a position where you're winning there, but if this kick goes through, the game is over. You have to have in your head at that point, if you're Leo Chanel or any of those guys, we're the Kansas City bleeping Chiefs. We definitely can block this kick. I think I'm going to block this kick. There is a level of confidence that this team has earned by being back-to-back champions, not just all the fluky or, the by a toenail types of wins in the regular season. They've earned this confidence of, when it comes down to crunch time, we're going to be the team that comes out. And then they put in the work throughout the Monday through Saturday on that to be able to execute it. Like, sometimes it feels almost hacky to me to say, like, they find a way to win because they're a special team. Well, they do, and they are. And it's not just something that feels that way. You have evidence to be able to track that they are producing games like this, winning games like this, because that's who they are, and these are the types of games that they're comfortable in, that they win seemingly constantly. It's a perfect little conversation to have around the dynasty of this era and trying to figure out how they can be so special, especially when they're trailing or on 3rd downs or any of those other clutch moments.
That's why I hate the conversation about the referees, and I get it. We all do this. As a Missouri fan, I poke fun at Kansas because they always get the home whistle. We did this against the New England Patriots, how you could never touch Tom Brady. Like, this comes with being the best and just being better than everybody else, but it feels like the referee conversation sort of undermines their greatness, and they just execute better than you. The Chiefs did not win on Sunday because of a call that happened in the second quarter. No, the Broncos didn't score in the second half of the game. The Broncos had less than 50 yards from scrimmage in the second half of that game. And when you have essentially an extra point is 33 yards, you had a 35-yard kick to win the game, and you get it blocked. I don't want to hear any conversation about the officials. You weren't good enough to win this game. Try again next week.
No, I'm with you across the board there. Not only does that refereeing discussion in air quotes there undermine the Chiefs' greatness, it's kind of cruel that the Chiefs' greatness enables that conversation, because with every single team in sports gets breaks from the referees sometimes. It's a hard job, they make mistakes, so sometimes you have it in your favor, sometimes you have it go against you. But when you are a team, as we just covered, that constantly makes the most of the moments that they have, when they constantly do seem comfortable down to the wire, when you get one extra gasp of air because the refereeing crew missed a call that ended up benefiting your team, no team is more likely to capitalize on that than the Kansas City Chiefs, because they capitalize on more of those moments in more of those situations, those memorable late game situations in particular. They capitalize on those without any help from the refereeing better than anybody else. So when you do get that sort of cynical glimmer of light of, look, the refs bailed them out, what seems to always happen, no one ever talks about this, but when the Chiefs get, quote, bailed out by the refs, and then the Chiefs have the football in their hands still, then they do the thing that wins the game. Very rarely does the game end on an objective call from a referee, but when the Chiefs take advantage of that, nobody talks about the Chiefs taking advantage of that opportunity. They talk about how they got another opportunity that they always seem to go on to maximize. Again, it's all so intertwined, and the sooner the NFL world leaves the refereeing conversation behind, I think the sooner we'll all be happier and more appreciative of what we're seeing.
Right now, we're talking to Joshua Brisco here. He covers the Kansas City Chiefs for Sports Illustrated. Let me ask you one AFC question, and we'll start to transition to this week's matchup against the Buffalo Bills. I think the Broncos are going to make the postseason. If you look at it right now, I would say there are 5 locks to make the postseason in the AFC. I also think the Chargers are more than likely going to make it too. We're talking about a team that is 6-3, and I think that 9 wins is going to be enough. I just can't see with their coaching and their quarterback and schedule. I just don't see a scenario in which Los Angeles only wins 2 games the rest of the season. I think they're going to make the postseason. So that leaves to me, you have Denver, Indianapolis, and Cincinnati that are probably fighting for that 7 spot. Which of those 3 teams do you think is making the postseason out of the Broncos, Colts, or Bengals?
I think that the best team and the scariest team is clearly the Bengals. I think the Broncos might be in a healthier position to actually make that happen, which is crazy considering all of the factors and all the names I won't waste your time by naming on the Bengals that we're well acquainted with. But the Broncos having seemingly, and obviously this wasn't the case 2 weeks ago, but was the case on Sunday, the Broncos seeming to have a pretty high ceiling and a pretty high floor on that defense, and then being able to do enough against most opposing defenses, it makes me feel like they are the quintessential 7 seed who sneaks in and then gets the doors blown off of them by Buffalo or Baltimore in the first round, whoever, or I guess maybe Pittsburgh. I got to start respecting Pittsburgh in that hunt at least, even though I don't think they're on the same level as obviously the Chiefs, Buffalo, Baltimore, and then maybe we could argue about Pittsburgh and Houston the way that the Texans have sort of slipped up. But I think the scariest team there is the Bengals. I think the Broncos might have the best path. I'm so out on the Colts. They threw their own season into the dumpster, and they have no one to blame but themselves for how they've handled all of that. So I don't want to hear about the Colts until Anthony Richardson's playing quarterback again.
Are you burying Miami, or do you think there's a chance they get into it?
3-6 is so tough.
I agreed.
I haven't looked at the rest of their schedule, so I don't know exactly how many games they have against the Jets and Patriots the rest of the way. That might be a little bit of a perk if they've still got, I think, a couple of those still coming. Yeah, they get each of those. Actually, they get the Jets twice and the Patriots one more time. So their schedule might play nice there to some extent, but right now I think it's probably just one team out of the East.
Right now, we're talking to Joshua Brisco here for a couple more minutes, just getting his thoughts on the Chiefs as we're starting to transition towards the Buffalo Bills game. All right, both of these guys are starting to practice this week between Isaiah Pacheco and Charles Omenihu. Who do you think is more important in the second half of the season? Do you think it's Pacheco or Omenihu?
I think, now there's a big asterisk here, but I think it's Charles Omenihu if he looks anything like Charles Omenihu. The version of him that we were seeing throughout the playoffs last year, and especially with the way that this defensive end rotation has gotten more depth and some kind of interesting small sample sizes from guys like Felix and Udike Uzama. The way that rotation could come together, where Felix becomes the 5th defensive end in the rotation, I think, behind Karlaftis, Omenihu, Dana, and Uche, that group is pretty spicy. And again, if it looks like Charles Omenihu, he might be the best pure edge rusher on this team, not including Chris Jones, again, pure edge rusher. So if he looks like Omenihu, it's him, and I think he becomes one of the 5 most important players on that defense. The concern, of course, is that he tore his ACL in January, and an ACL recovery, getting back to the field, is only even part of it. So my hesitance there is that in the first few weeks, he doesn't really look like himself. It's going to be a little bit harder to project sort of the optimism that I have there now. Pacheco, I feel great about, because he can just come in and try to help Kareem Hunt just survive to the end of this season. And then having both of those guys in the playoffs, also a legitimate gain. But the potential of Charles Omenihu playing like himself and looking like himself, I think, is legitimately huge for a defense that's already excellent.
Let me ask you that same question now with Menahu and Juju Smith-Schuster. Who do you think is more important to get back and get healthy and get right? Do you think it's the DN or the wide receiver?
I'll give it to Menahu again. I think he's a more special player at this point in his career. I think what he could do for the Chiefs defense is a little bit more advantageous to what Juju can do for the offense. But I do think if you do get Juju back out there, maybe you start to see a little bit of a throttling down for Xavier Worthy and a little bit for Justin Watson. Not that Watson and Smith-Schuster play a lot of the same snaps, but maybe you can begin to kind of recalibrate around your absolutely ancient receiving core of DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Kelce at the middle of it. But I think Omenihu, if I got to wave a magic wand and have one injured player on this team, not named Hollywood Brown or Rashee Rice, I'll step away from them. After those 2 receivers, if I get to magically heal any player to 100% on the Chiefs injury report, it's Charles Omenihu.
Right now, we're talking to Joshua Brisco here. Josh, I imagine that this is mind-blowing to you. Can you imagine if I had told 16-year-old you, hey, coming up in about 20 years or so, the Chiefs are going to be the Patriots, and they're going to have their version of the Colts. Like, you and I are around the same age. We grew up in the same era of the NFL. You knew every year, it felt like for a decade, that the Patriots and Colts were going to play each other, or the Patriots and Broncos were going to play each other. They were always going to be big nationally televised games. And for the most part, they were going to determine who ended up representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. And that is basically what we have now here. Like, you can't really have a much more important regular season game between 2 teams than what we're talking about here. If Kansas City wins this game, they go up 4 against Buffalo, and there's just not enough time for Buffalo to come back, I think, and get the 1 seed. If the Chiefs lose this game, you're only 1 up with, 6-7 weeks to go. It is still very possible, even with the undefeated start, everything the Chiefs have done is so great. They can lose the 1 seed if they lose on Sunday. Again, I can't think of a game that has more regular season implications, and this is just how it was when you and I were coming up with the Patriots and the Colts.
It's really remarkable. I remember with genuine clarity having conversations with one of my friends when we were both 13 and having the conversation of, do you think the Chiefs will ever win a Super Bowl before we die? That was a real conversation, and honest to God, we both agreed that the answer was no. It was not even a thing worth expecting or hoping for. They didn't win a playoff game for the first 20 years or so, 18 years of my life. I mean, it was an absolute, beyond afterthought. You felt foolish for thinking about the best case scenario with this organization. And so being here now, no, I'm glad that you mentioned it, and I feel like we should always have some responsibility to continue to underline that fact, because I don't know a single Chiefs fan over the age of, 8 now maybe, who ever thought that this would be a future that we ever had in the cards. To the point of this game, you're right. It means more for Buffalo because the Chiefs can end it here, and obviously that's, meaningful for Kansas City as well. But the Bills' chance, and it's a regular season game, and this is always going to have a little bit of a cloud over it, as the Niners game was not a Super Bowl rematch, right? It was a regular season game. But the Bills have such a distinct relationship with this team, like you just reflected on, of knowing who the villain was going to be, knowing who their boogeyman was going to be. And in this instance, they haven't even gotten the success of the Peyton Manning Colts, where they actually have made it to a Super Bowl, where they have actually won one, where they have gotten over on this Chiefs team yet. So they can't exercise those demons on Sunday. But if all of a sudden it's 9-1 versus 8-2, or I guess 9-2, I can't remember when the Bills' bye was scheduled. But if it's one loss, yeah, they'd be 9-2. If it's one loss separating the two of them there, and the Bills feel like, with obviously having the tiebreaker, the Bills feel like they're closing the gap, and now all of a sudden all those narratives about the Chiefs maybe not being a legit 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, 9-0 that's followed them every week, a little bit of those cracks will begin to show, and some of those cracks will just be had in like national media conversations that aren't going to permeate the Chiefs locker room. But I think this game means a lot to the Bills. I hope it means a lot to the Chiefs, because being able to look down to the rest of the schedule and even seeing those games against the Texans and Steelers and say, we're not stressed about where that's going to put us in the AFC, because we have the tiebreaker over all of the top contenders, with that Christmas game against the Steelers being the one left pending. It would be a hell of a way to a mindset to have for the second half of this season. It'd really be incredible.
Last question here. You and I, again, are around the same age, so we remember Raider Hater Week and how big the games were against the Broncos. Do you think the Bills are now their rival?
Ooh, yeah, I think probably so. Yeah, I was thinking also, when you asked about the best regular season games ever, Jamal Charles catching 4 touchdowns is very high up there. I think for the Chiefs, well, you know what? I'm actually going to amend that. I'll say no. I think it's the Bengals still, because the Bengals do have one playoff success over this team, and those teams hate each other. That's legitimate. I think the Chiefs and Bills respect each other as rivals, maybe in that Brady Manning type of way. I think Chiefs-Bengals is more of the Raider Hater Week that we grew up in so toxically.
That is our guy, Joshua Brisco, joining us on the show. He now has his suspension lifted to the show. Now, Brisco, let me tell you this, because I don't want you to get too excited. You can always be suspended again. Like, you watch the NBA, Draymond gets suspended, he comes back. That doesn't mean the next time you get a flagrant foul. That doesn't mean that you can just walk scot-free. So you still are walking on thin ice, but you know what? You had a great appearance on the show. I'm happy you were on the show this week. I don't want to have to take your privileges away again, sir.
If I am the Draymond Green of this show, that is a role I can live with.
That is our guy, Joshua Brisco, joining us on the show. He does fantastic work with Sports Illustrated, covering the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll talk more about this over the course of the week. You guys know where I am on pro sports rivalries. I think that professional sports rivalries are based in competition, where I think that college rivalries are based on tradition. And I think those are two different things. Alabama and Auburn are always going to be rivals. Kansas and Missouri are always going to be rivals, where in professional sports, it's based on two teams that are fighting for the exact same thing. And it can transfer. I do think at one point that it was the Cincinnati Bengals. I think that it shifted over the course of the last 6 to 8 months or so. I think it's Buffalo. Think about last season. You had the Kadarius Toney game, and you also played your first road playoff game under Patrick Mahomes, and it was in Buffalo. I think that Buffalo right now is at the top of the power rankings of who is the Chiefs' rival. What team are you most worried about beating you in the postseason? I think number one, your answer would be nobody. And then number two, if you had to answer, I think your answer would be Buffalo. I think they have become the rival for the Chiefs. But again, that could change at any given moment, because your rival is who's the team that can best stop you from meeting your goals. I don't need to hear the same Raiders and Broncos stories that we've heard our whole lives. We're not creating new memories in that rivalry. The Chiefs are creating new memories in games like Sunday against the Buffalo Bills, when the 1 seed feels like it's at stake. You can bury Buffalo this week. They're not overcoming a 4-game deficit from Thanksgiving on to catch the Kansas City Chiefs. So they need to prepare to face you guys in January at Arrowhead. That is a massive advantage for the 2-time defending Super Bowl champion. Coming up on the other side, Rob, let's talk about Denzel Washington. Earlier today on the Today Show, said that his career is winding down and he only has a couple of more movies. We'll talk about it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
It is one of my favorite times of the year. The NBA is back, baby, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app, wants you to catch all the action because right now, FanDuel is giving all users, yes, every single user, 3 months free of NBA League Pass. All you need to do to catch every tip-off and every buzzer beater is place a $5 bet on the NBA. You can place this on LeBron having the most assists, Victor Wembanyama to win MVP, or who you think is going to win the NBA Cup. If you're new to FanDuel, all you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code to get 3 months free of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After 3 month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel at any time. No refunds, terms and restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit KSGamblingHelp.com.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR and Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR and Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember,
you're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrstormcheck.com.
Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City, now open. Dine on mouth-watering appetizers, then feast on one of our 6 American Wagyu burgers, including the Bacon Jam Burger and Blazing Burger. Wash it down with your favorite ice-cold beverage, all while watching the game on one of our 45 TVs. Dine in or carry out. Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City always hits the spot. Brew Brothers and Brew Brothers Express are now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-BETS-OFF.
The election is finally over. Now you can get the cash you need. Imagine what you could do with $50,000. Pay off credit cards, do home improvements, or even pay off auto loans. Golden Oak's mortgage rate is 5.25%. There's no out-of-pocket costs, so call today and make no payments until next year. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
6.19 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
The holidays are a magical time to get engaged. At Shane Company, we're here to help you create your dream engagement ring in just 3 easy steps. Choose a setting that speaks to your style. Compare diamonds and colorful gemstones in all shapes and sizes. Then personalize it with a decorative crown and special engraving. Or choose a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, you'll find everyday competitive prices, a no-pressure environment, and an unmatched free lifetime warranty. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Truck drivers, don't wait until 2025 to find a more reliable career. At Schneider, you'll enjoy reliable freight, a consistent schedule, the home time you want, and top quality driver support. No matter what kind of driving job or home time you're looking for, we have an opportunity for you. Plus, by driving for one of America's busiest carriers, you'll stay busy throughout the holiday season and into the new year. Don't wait. Search jobs near you and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Yo, 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 Dad is in the house. What do you call the NordVPN Black Friday deal, huh? The Block Friday deal. Because you block online threats. Black Friday, Block Friday. Get it? It's hilarious. Get the NordVPN Black Friday deal and block online threats now. NordVPN is rated as outstanding on PC Mag. Just visit NordVPN.com and discover the benefits of this all-around cybersecurity tool. It will encrypt your online traffic. NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro tool will defend you against web trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. So improve your digital privacy and protection with one simple click. Get the special Black Friday deal at nordvpn.com and enjoy safer internet daily. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
This afternoon, expect a sunny day with a high of 62.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Welcome to your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, coming up in about 30 minutes, we are going to be joined by Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. Earlier today, Denzel Washington was on the Today Show, and he gave a couple of updates about his career. Let's hear from maybe the greatest actor alive.
For me, it's about the filmmaker, especially at this point in my career. I'm only interested in working with the best. I don't know how many more films I'm going to make. It's probably not that many. I want to do things I haven't done. I played Othello at 22. I'm about to play Othello at 70. After that, I'm playing Hannibal. After that, I've been talking with Steve McQueen about a film. After that, Ryan Coogler is writing a part for me in the next Black Panther. After that, I'm going to do the film Othello. After that, I'm going to do King Lear. After that, I'm going to retire.
So Denzel Washington is already setting up his exit strategy. He is telling you that he is nearing the end of his career. We wanted to talk about Denzel, and there was only one person to do that with. It's our dear brother, Steve Inspector here, the boss man. You'll hear him later in the week, Inspector says. So we are going to do a what is your favorite Denzel Washington movie draft.
Ooh, yeah.
Now we have decided the order. I have the first pick. Rob has the second pick. You have the third and the fourth pick. We're going to pick your starting five of Denzel movies.
Okay.
You guys know how we do this. There shouldn't be any questions. You usually have questions here.
This is my lane. This is my alley. I'm ready to go. I think we should have to do your favorite line from the movie. If you're a Denzel fan and you're drafting these movies, me, you, and Rob, you should have to say one of your favorite lines from the movie.
Okay, all right. I think we can do that.
First round only. Second, top.
Okay, I think we can do
top two
that.
picks. You got to say your favorite line from said movie.
All right, let's do that here. I have the number one overall pick. Hit me, Rob. This is tough for me because this is not my favorite Denzel movie, but I think it has to be the number one overall pick. You will be playing basketball at Pelican Bay when I get done with you. 23-hour days. I got to take training day with the number one overall pick.
I can't fault you.
That was like Andrew Luck at 1-1.
I mean, I had to take him. Again, that's not my personal favorite. Maybe I'll get to take my personal favorite later on in the movie. But the best Denzel movie, you can't let Training Day be the third overall pick.
Denzel had to be crooked before he took it.
Yeah, I gotta do it. I gotta take Training Day 1-1.
No, I don't fault you for that.
At 2 overall, I'm taking American Gangster. The loudest one in the room is usually the weakest one. That's Alpaca. You blot that. You don't rub. American Gangster is number 2.
I think that's a little high to take American. I love American Gangster. A little high to take American Gangster. A little high.
So I get back-to-back picks here.
You get back-to-back here. Still, obviously, a lot of value on the board.
Oh, man. Okay. Remember the Titans.
Okay.
He got game. Right?
That's, yeah.
I mean,
incredible value.
He got game. I saw it with my grandmother. She had to put the sweater over my eyes for a majority of the movie.
That's what I was wondering. How did that work?
I did not get to see the assistant coaches. Let's put it that way.
Odd grandmother pick.
Yeah.
Well,
but again, going on?
But remember, in 1996, when a movie comes out, like there's no internet. You see a preview, like, oh, kid wanting to go to college to play basketball. It was kind of about that.
Completely understand. All right, Rob, you have the 5th overall pick
Inside
here.
Man.
That is a really good movie, and it's one that always pops up my streaming services.
Inside Man's so good.
I love that movie.
Honestly, Denzel's fantastic in the movie. I think was it Clive Owen? I think he steals the show in that one. But yes, Inside Man.
I'm a big fan of that movie. All right, I feel great here. I can take movies that I really enjoy. With the number 6 overall pick, I will take Malcolm X. You know I love You Have Been Hoodwinked, Bamboozled, Led Astray, Run Amok. And I'm also with the 7th pick going to take another personal favorite of mine, Hospital Under New Management, John Q. Incredible
I
movie.
wasn't going to take John Q because I just wanted you to have it.
You know I love John Q. Sick Help. Oh my goodness, what a film. John Q.
I feel like I'm just racking up the wins here in the 2 spot because my 3rd pick's going to be Philadelphia.
Oh, what a terrible pick.
That might be his best acting job.
Yeah, that movie might not have got drafted.
Rob, I wouldn't have taken.
Incredible.
I wouldn't have taken. I can't believe you let this slip to me. I wish you had more time. Man on Fire, Dakota Fanning, young Dakota Fanning. Oh my God, I love Man on Fire.
You want to talk about a movie that was always on FX?
It still is.
Man on Fire was always on there.
I'm going to butcher the line, but when he brings up the bazooka to that like old Mexican man's apartment, he's like, I'm the messenger between God and Satan, and I'm here to arrange the meeting. Oh man, goosebumps. Man on Fire, number 3.
Philadelphia's a terrible
Rob,
top
what are you
10
doing?
pick. Awful top 10
atrocious. The question is, which is going to fall to me in the 4th, 5th round? All right, I'm going to take. I don't think Equalizer is going to get to me because I think you're going to take Equalizer with one of your next 2 picks. I'm going to take Equalizer in the 4th round because I think I'm going to get away with my 5th round pick because I don't think either one of you take it.
Okay.
The first Equalizer is very good.
I think the first 2 are actually really good. Let me update you on this. Denzel Washington said his career is winding down. We're taking a break from sports. We're talking a little Denzel Washington. I have 3 picks so far. I've drafted Training Day, Malcolm X, and John Q. Rob has American Gangster, Inside Man, and Philadelphia.
Rob's done. Just Minnesota Vikings your 4th pick.
Spec has 4 of his 5 movies. He has He Got Game, Man on Fire, Remember the Titans, and Equalizer. Those are 4 of your 5 movies. All right, Rob, the pick is on you.
I'll be taking Flight.
That was coming up for me.
I actually really wanted Equalizer here. I was hoping you would think it would slip through because Equalizer 1 is really... Equalizer 2 is still good, but not Equalizer 1 good.
Have you seen Equalizer 3 in the movie in Italy?
Yeah, I've seen all 3 of them, yeah.
It's a drop down. It's still... That's a good FX movie.
But yeah, I will happily take Flight. I enjoy Flight.
All right, I actually feel really
Taking
good.
all of his serious roles.
I actually feel really good about this. I'm going to take Safe House. It's just a fun Denzel watch. I'm going to take Safe House as one of my movies. I'm also going to take, for my final movie, I'm going to take Antoine Fisher.
Oh,
I'm going to take Antoine Fisher for my last Denzel Washington movie. Just 2 movies that everybody had on DVD back in the day. Everybody had Antoine Fisher on
I have
DVD. It. Great movie.
With Booby Miles?
So I am done with my movies. Training Day, Malcolm X, John Q, Safe House, and Antoine Fisher. Those are my 5 Denzel Washington movies.
Rob's going to take Othello here. He's already got Philadelphia in flight.
Rob's about to take the Bone Collector. That's what he's about to. Pelican Brief.
Oh, my God.
I'm taking Unstoppable. I like Unstoppable a lot. Unstoppable, I don't know why. There's something about Unstoppable I really enjoy.
I wrote down 16 Denzel Washington movies, and that wasn't even one of them.
He was about to take the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
I don't know what it is. It's a 5th round pick. It's a movie I enjoyed. I don't know why I enjoy it. It's not elite by any standards, but him and Chris Pine have good on-screen chemistry. There's just something about it I enjoy.
It was about a runaway train in which they had like 2 hours to solve the problem.
I just want to say that of all the Denzel and then random white guy movies, he picked the worst of them. He picked the worst. Safe House is better. 2 Guns is better than that.
Oh, I hate 2 Guns.
I like 2 Guns.
2 Guns is fun. Yeah,
2 Guns
is the same as Safe House.
Yeah,
2 Guns gets too convoluted with the story. They're trying to tell a story. Safe House is like we're shooting.
Rob, I got to be honest. Philadelphia, Flight, and Unstoppable, I wouldn't have taken any of those 3.
I like Flight. Flight's good.
It's fine.
Flight's good.
I think you guys missed out some other classic 90s Denzel. I wouldn't have taken any of those. So I'm down to 2, The Siege and Crimson Tide. I think I'm taking Crimson Tide. Him and Gene Hackman underwater, Russian submarine fight. Give me Crimson Tide.
All right, we have done our Denzel Washington draft here. Let us know on the text line, 913-586-7965. Who do you think won between Spectre and I?
I'm going to tell you right now, because if you text in Rob, I'm going to cancel the service. As the boss of this station, if you text in Rob wins this draft, the text line's going away.
Is that worse than the person who texted in and said, how come no one picked Drumline?
It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Hi, I'm Kim Myers, owner of Top Notch Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. We'd love to help with your plumbing emergencies, but the best way to ward off those expensive repairs is to schedule a $74 home plumbing inspection. We're still celebrating our 50th anniversary with top-notch deals like cleaning your dusty, moldy ducts for only $4.95. Think your furnace won't make it through the winter? Save thousands on a new Daikin system. Go to topnotchheatingandair.com for details. Thanks, and have a top-notch day.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Because right now, FanDuel is giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 bet on the NBA. I'm really excited to see if the Knicks can back up what they did a season ago. And even the MVP market, where Luka's the favorite at plus 330. If you're new to FanDuel, just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will automatically be charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering an online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
It's Thirsty Thursday at Hy-Vee. Time to stock up the bar and fill up your tank. Earn 50 cents per gallon fuel savings on every $50 purchase of wine, beer, hard seltzer, and spirits. Mix and match all your favorite libations and get a 50-cent fuel saver with every $50 purchase. Stack up the savings and your next fill-up could be free. Don't miss Thirsty Thursday at your Kansas City, Missouri Hy-Vee. Product promotion differs by location. Offers valid where legal, available while supplies last.
I can't wait to watch the Chiefs go up and down the field and score a ton of points this year. And now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs. I just head to Hy-Vee the day after any game and score savings at the pump with my Hy-Vee Perks card. Win or lose, I earn fuel saver discounts equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, I save 42 cents a gallon when I spend $42. The more we score, the more I save. Only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Hey, folks. I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today?
It's winter clearance time at Volkswagen Lee Summit. Get up to $5,000 off the 24 Jetta, 24 Taos, and 24 Tiguan, and up to $8,000 off the 24 Atlas and Atlas Crossport. Hurry in before we sell out of 24s. Visit VWLeeSummit.com.
Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates, all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
This Thanksgiving at Total Wine & More, find bourbons and Cabernets that you adore.
With curbside pickup available and the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, I want to play what Fesco said earlier today on his show. Patrick Mahomes is coming on to the show in about 15 minutes. We talked about some of the struggles and some of the deep passes and shots down the field. We talk about the win on Sunday against the Broncos, and we look ahead to the Bills game coming up this Sunday. So we had the mayor of Kansas City on last Wednesday and asked him about the stadiums, and he's pretty emphatic that the stadiums are going to be downtown. Let me play for you guys what Fesco had to say earlier today on his show regarding the future, and this was more centered around what the Royals are going to do and not the Chiefs. I at least want you to keep that in mind while I play it.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now, and I think from what the conversations I was having with a lot of people yesterday, this thing is going to move fast and it's going to move quickly, and we're going to know maybe by the winter meetings where the Royals are breaking ground on their new stadium. And I talked to multiple sources on this now, so I have it confirmed from two different folks about what's going on right now in Kansas City, if you will, and I use the air quotes Kansas City on this one, because from what I've been told, the Royals are in real and advanced discussions with the state of Kansas to potentially build their new stadium in Johnson County.
Now, where would that location be?
Well, there are a couple locations that I'm hearing right now. There's a location right inside the 435 loop around Antioch, is what I've been told is one location. And then the location that I think a lot of people are very fond of is 119th and Knoll on the old Sprint campus. And there, they already have 5 parking garages that exist.
Rob, have you heard the saying whenever people are dating, are you looking for Mrs. Right or are you looking for Mrs. Right now? Because those are two very different things to look for, right? Like if you're looking for Mrs. Right now, the qualities that you want are very different if you were looking for Mrs. Right. One thing that the Royals need to answer, and I think you deserve this answer if you live on the Missouri side, the Kansas side, or you are just a regular fan of the team. Do the Royals want a new stadium or a downtown stadium? Because those are two different things. Now, I understand that the downtown stadium would be a new stadium, but we agree what would be around the stadium, the feel of the stadium, all of those things would be drastically different. Like from the moment John Sherman started to talk to us about this, it has always been pitched that they envision downtown baseball. I'm sorry, 119th and Knoll is not downtown baseball. They have sold us this entire time that we could do more and we want to be close to downtown. We want to be closer to the urban core. Like, they have sold us this for 3 years. Do the Royals just want a stadium that we're going to pay for? Because that's what I think the Chiefs want. I think the Chiefs have been kind of open in what they want. Now, I know they have spun it of how much they love Arrowhead and how much they want to preserve the history of it. I think all of us rational-minded individuals know that the Chiefs want the best deal. And they are going to take the best deal from whichever side gives it to them. It doesn't matter if it's the Jackson County side, the Johnson County side. If you got enough space and you got the money, the Chiefs will happily play their games there. That's not really what the Royals have communicated to us over the course of the last couple of years. And I believe that part of the frustration, and maybe this is just my own frustration as someone that lives in Jackson County, is I don't think the Royals have ever really communicated a plan to us and really sold it like they're passionate about it. Their plan for downtown and the Crossroads, it felt like it refreshed every single day. Well, we like this, but we don't like this. Well, this is just a rendering. No. Have a passionate vision about what you see as the future of the Royals, and then go out there and sell it to people. Have you ever bought something from a salesman? Not because you really wanted it, but just they sold it to you in such a way and they believed, and you were like, you know what, man, here, I'll give you $5, $10, sure. You know, I'm happy to support you. I've said this from the very beginning. I don't think that the people of Jackson County or Johnson County or any of us, I think you understand that if you want to have a professional sports team in your city, it's going to cost you something. That whatever stadium they build, I don't care if it's the Chiefs, Royals, whatever team, you are going to help pay for it in some capacity because that is just the cover charge for having a professional sports team. But the Royals tried to sell us a half-ass plan, and now that they have taken the defeat, they lost about as poorly as you could lose just 6 months ago. They're now, well, we like Washington Square, but wait, we might go here. How are the Royals doing the exact same thing again? Like, you didn't learn anything from the last ass whooping you just got. We just saw you get embarrassed back in April, and you're about to do the same thing again? Like, you didn't learn? That doesn't make any sense to me. You touched the stove and it was hot. You're now about to touch it again? Maybe I'm overreacting to this. Again, it's just one report, and I have no reason to not believe Bob Fesco, but doesn't this sound like they are doing the exact same thing? And now, instead of using Clay County against Jackson County, they're now using Kansas against them. They've sold us 4 different downtown stadiums in 2024. They sold us East Village, they sold us the Crossroads, they sold us Crown Center, and now Kansas is. You guys don't have focus groups. You guys don't talk to people about this. You guys don't have these things mapped out. They then tried to sell us the Star Build. They've sold 4 different Kansas City locations in 2024. That's tough. They've had more site proposals than Chiefs losses over the last year or so. You guys don't have your ducks in a row. You guys still aren't ready. It should be code silence from anybody in that camp, anybody in that circle until they're ready to go, until they have a plan. And I don't feel like the Royals, and this is the feeling, I don't feel the Royals are any closer than they were the day after they lost that vote. Can anybody tell me where the stadium is going to go? We've been doing this for 2 years. I would say we've been doing it even longer than this. The moment COVID was over, they've been selling us on a new stadium. And none of us still have a clue on where it's going to be. Is it going to be in North Kansas City? Is it going to be the Truman Sports Complex? Some of us even question why they even need a new stadium. We just gave you all this money 15 years ago to go get another stadium. I cannot believe that the Royals are going to make what feels like all the same mistakes again with all of us. You guys just got pummeled at the voting box 6 months ago, and you still don't have a plan. You still don't seem organized. There's still leaks in your camp. You're still leaking this information. How are they going to go through this same process again? You guys don't see that we're tired of this? You don't see that your own paying fan base and customers are tired of this and simply just want you guys to make a decision and then tell us. And then we will decide whether we like that plan or not like that plan. But it has been so much back and forth and flip-flop this entire time. It makes no sense to me, Rob.
Is it possible, and I don't know this, Fesco is a much better reporter on this than me. He's a great journalist, the whole deal. But is it possible the Royals keep leaking out, floating out ideas? Because every single time they run into a problem, and the problem is because the public doesn't seem excited about any of the plans. Now, if you want to say it's chicken or egg, hey, they're not excited about the plan, they leak it out, the public's not excited, that's fine. But Washington Square Park got leaked out. No one was excited. The Crossroads one, no one was excited. Star Building, no one excited. Only time we've been excited is the East Loop, and we know the power brokers weren't excited.
This is where I got to disagree with you just a little bit. The Royals have never really they've never really sold the vision of downtown baseball. They've sold the concept of downtown baseball.
And I would say
that's what I think is different. I think it's different now I know it's a little bit different, right? But you remember whenever they were selling the renovations back when they wanted the 3/8 of a cent sales tax. Man, that thing was incredible. And then that was the vision. Hey, look at Arrowhead or look at Kauffman. It's a little rinky-dink. It's a little podunk. We got something great. You got to sell people on a vision. And it doesn't appear like they have a very clear vision. And it appears that there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen and a lot of people pushing and pulling Think about how the Chiefs have kind of handled their business in regards to a new stadium, and think about how the Royals have handled their business. The Chiefs have done exactly what I want the Royals to do. We don't get these leaks every 2-3 weeks about what the Chiefs are going to do. No, this conversation it's 3 or 4 people that are in the loop about this conversation, and we will tell you information when it's time to. We don't need Fesco to tell you this. We don't need Sam McDowell to tell you this. We don't need Fox 4. When we got news, you'll know about it. That's not how the Royals have operated in this thing. Again, how many different downtown proposals have they sold you the concept of over the course of this year? Because they sold you the Star Building. They sold you McGee. They sold you Washington Square. They sold you the Crossroads. They sold you East Village. And they have poked holes in their own vision over the course of it. Well, we can't do that. It's too close. They've really hurt their cause when it comes. And that's why I asked the question, do they want a downtown stadium or a new stadium? Those are two completely different concepts. If they just want a new stadium, well, build it wherever. You guys pay for it. Build it wherever. You want to put it here? Sure. It's a new stadium. People will go. But they have really tried to push this idea of downtown baseball and how it's the lifeblood for the Royals in the future and the sight lines. And they've sold this entire time. They're doing a really, really bad job at it. And you would just think after the voters, shot you down in April, you would think that you would have learned some lessons from that just a little bit ago. And it feels like they are about to repeat the exact same process, which just makes absolutely no sense to me. Coming up on the other side, we'll be joined by the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, will be on the show in a little bit. We'll talk about their dramatic win on Sunday against the Broncos. We also will get ready for Sunday against the Bills. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect? Please? Because I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
When your little one has a cold with a fever, try new DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever. It's the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever offers fast, effective cold and fever relief for kids ages 6 and up with a delicious grape flavor that kids love. New DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever will help them feel better fast so they can get back to the fun stuff quickly. New DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
I'm Jenna Fisher. And I'm Angela Kinsey. And together we have the podcast Office Ladies. Just because we finished rewatching The Office does not mean we're going anywhere. Every Wednesday, we'll be sharing even more exclusive stories from The Office and our friendship with brand new guests. Plus, you can revisit all the Office Ladies rewatch episodes every Monday with new bonus tidbits before every episode.
So follow and listen to Office Ladies on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic brought to you by Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com. Got debris in the roadway, westbound lanes of 70 to northbound 435, stopping traffic at that exchange already. Also seen some brake lights over the Bond Bridge and into downtown southbound lanes of 35. Want more from your dealership? At Metro Ford, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. Family owned, just 10 minutes from downtown, and packed with unbeatable value. Drive smarter only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. He's taken your Chiefs to the mountaintop 3 different times.
Mahomes moving to his left laterally, chased, holding it, and gets out of bounds and up the sideline. He's not out of bounds yet. He's at the 10, inside the 10. He dives for the end zone. Touchdown, Kansas City.
And he sits down with one show across the entire country for an exclusive one-on-one interview. Your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Here's Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes on The Drive.
Every week we get a chance to catch up with the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. There was a lot of things to talk to him about, so let's get to it. I would like to tell you guys that if you miss any part of this conversation, we will replay it in the 5 o'clock hour. And the 5 o'clock hour is going to be commercial-free. Yes, commercial-free 5 o'clock hour. Earlier today, I got a chance to catch up with the quarterback of the Chiefs, and I asked him the question first that all of us want to know. Man, how do you guys continue to do this each and every Sunday?
Man, it's just we just go out there and play football. I mean, obviously, it's been close games a lot this season, but that just speaks to the culture that we have here and the teammates that I have around me. I mean, it takes everybody, and I think that was the biggest thing you saw from this week is that we're going to fight to the very end.
It was kind of hard to avoid it, but I'm sure you saw a lot of the Broncos fan reaction. Did you get a chance to see any of that on social media this weekend?
I honestly haven't seen much of it. I'm sure they weren't too happy though, so I'm gonna have to go check that out after this.
Yeah, I was just laughing about it because, there's some Chiefs fans that just hate John Elway and hate Peyton Manning for always beating their team. And I was thinking this weekend, there is a Broncos fan like a kid right now, 11, 12 years old, and you were their least favorite player because you always beat their team.
Yeah, I mean, I had certain guys like that growing up too. You always want your team to win, and I try to go out there and have fun and do it the right way, but obviously it's going to upset some people when you beat their team a good amount.
Patrick, take us inside the locker room because I'm guessing that was as spirited, as hype of just a complete total team effort that you've been a part of.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the biggest thing for me is I've never been a part of something like that. I mean, I've been a part of some walk-off wins and some big defensive stops and stuff like that, big field goals, but to have a field goal block, I mean, obviously – we trust those guys, and they go through their week and find ways to find weaknesses within the special teams. But that's just such a hard play to do. And so for a guy to make a big play in that moment to win the football game as a kind of a walk-off, it was something that I'll have for the rest of my career.
I was just going to ask you, where does that rank in terms of regular season wins? You guys have certainly had some great postseason wins. Maybe that win you guys had early in your career against the Ravens with the big pass play on fourth down. I'm just trying to think of what's an exciting regular season win that you think would even rival what happened on Sunday.
Yeah, there's not a lot. I mean, like you said, that Ravens one, just because it was so early in my career. Maybe the Chargers one when Travis has the catch and breaks all the tackles in overtime and scores a touchdown. That one's up there. But definitely one of the bigger regular season wins as far as momentum swings and emotion swings and stuff like that. And so it was definitely a really cool moment, man. I mean, just to be a part of, and I think you saw by the celebration by everybody.
What is it about the Broncos? Is it just the fact that they are a division rival? It feels like you've just played them really tough for something happens. You had a significant injury against the Broncos. Your first start was against Denver. Monday Night Football with the left-handed throw. You've just had so many of these moments in your career, and they normally seem to happen against Denver for whatever reason. Yeah,
I mean, it's a really good franchise and a really good football team. I mean, they play hard the entire game. They're well coached. They got great players, and we always know it's going to be a challenge, especially in division and especially against the Broncos because they want to beat us as much as we want to beat them. And so it's definitely always a challenge, and there's been some big moments in my career, but I'm glad that we were able to find a way to get a win in this one.
Right now, we're talking to the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick, we are coming up on a month since the D-Hop trade. What have you learned most working with him over the course of the last few weeks?
Yeah, I think just the intelligence. I mean, he really is a football savant, man. He watches the little things. He really focuses on his craft, and that's what you want. I mean, not only on the football field, but in that room with all those receivers. He's a veteran guy who's done it at a high level for a long time, and I think he's going to keep getting more and more involved in the offense, and that's going to keep getting other guys open. We left some stuff out there, not just me and him, but just in general as the offense. This last week, and we got to be better at executing there, and they'll take our best this week against the Bills.
And you describing him, I hear a lot of the similarities in how you kind of approach football and how you see it. What's been the process like to kind of get him up to speed? Are you and him watching extra film? Are you guys working together? What is the process to get him acclimated to this offense since he joined midseason?
Yeah, it's just a little bit of all of it. I mean, he's been in the building, just as much as I have, just learning the offense, learning how we do things, learning how we coach things. And then learning how I see the game as well, and I try to do the same for him. And whenever you get a guy mid-season like this, it's about getting him up to speed as fast as possible, and I think we've done a good job of that so far. But he'll continue to learn more and more each and every week, and I think that's a big thing for us as an offense going forward.
You mentioned a couple of missed throws from the last game. What's the throw when you went back and watched film? You're kind of like, that's one I should have made.
Yeah, I think the one to Trav was probably the biggest one, just because at the moment of the game, and then he was open, so just getting the throw down a little bit and letting them get a chance to go up and catch it in the back of the end zone. It just puts our defense in a better spot where they're not having to guard against a field goal and a touchdown, where they know what the Broncos need to get to, and they can coach that way. And so that was big. I mean, obviously the one to Worthy. I mean, you want to hit those deep ones. We've missed a couple of those these last few weeks, but kind of that was more of an off script, kind of was going one way and kind of saw him be his guy and try to make the throw, but still throws I believe I can make.
I was going to ask you about the Worthy play. You guys have missed that the last couple of weeks. Is that related to his speed? Is that timing-wise? You guys have been unable to connect these last couple of weeks in those big home run swings, and that's the kind of player that he is. What needs to change? Maybe it's in your fundamentals. What needs to change to connect on those passes in the future?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I just got to make the throw. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, he's getting open, he's getting separation, and that's what we got him here for. And if I make the throws, he should have probably 3 or 4 more touchdowns. So it's about me just being better and making the throw.
What is that process like? Is it film? Because I remember earlier in the year when you and I talked, you kind of talked about your base and your fundamentals. Is it kind of getting back to some of those things, or is it something else?
I think it's just playing ball. I mean, like in that one, it's a difference whenever it's kind of within the structure of the play, and I see him, and I try to make the throw and make the touchdown throw, which has happened this year, but that's happened good and bad. But whenever the play pops, and he might not be necessarily the main read, and kind of like this last weekend, and I see him, I got to be able to set my feet up and make the throw, and keep it in bounds and give him a chance. And I thought he did a great job stacking on the red line and giving me room to make the throw, and I threw it out of bounds.
Right now, we're talking to the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, here for a couple of minutes. Patrick, one thing I've learned from talking to you over the years, you always say, it's the NFL. You don't need any extra motivation. This feels like the game that embodies that more than anything. You got the 2 best teams in the AFC. You went there last year in the postseason. You guys always play these tightly contested games. You know what you're heading into on Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I don't think there's any extra motivation. I think you just know it's going to take your best in order to win this football game. You're playing against one of the best teams in the NFL, the team that you played a lot of times and know every single time it seems like it comes down to the wire, and we're going to be in a hostile environment. So we understand that it's going to take our best football in order to get the win, and that should be enough motivation in itself.
You mentioned it last year, sort of embracing the villain. Where would you rank Buffalo in terms of just hostile environments? That image of you running off the field and fans are loud, they're throwing things, and you're running off celebrating a win. Where would you kind of rank Buffalo in some of the toughest environments that you've played in?
Yeah, I mean, pretty simple. I mean, they don't like me a lot, and they don't like the Chiefs a lot, so I'm sure it'll be pretty hostile out there.
What is it like to be, I guess, perceived as the underdog in this one? You guys are the favorites. You guys are the 2-time defending champion, but there's going to be a lot of people that pick against you this week. What's it like to be perceived as the underdog heading into this game?
Yeah, I mean, you don't pay attention to most of those things, especially during the regular season. I mean, it's week to week in this league, and it just kind of depends on if you played good the week before or not. And we felt like we didn't play our best football the week before, but at the same time, we have to find a way to play our best football this week if we want to get a win.
You guys always talk about your goals, taking care of the division, making sure that you have the 1 seed. I don't have to tell you how important this game is in locking up that 1 seed conversation, and it goes a long way beating a team that is directly behind you in the standings. How important is it to you? How important is it to this team to make sure that the AFC Championship game is played again in Arrowhead?
Yeah, it's extremely important. I mean, obviously, it wasn't last year and we were able to get it done, but just to have that advantage of being at Arrowhead, being home, being able to rest your body for that week with the bye week, I mean, there's definitely advantages to it, and it's an important game as far as seeding and stuff like that goes. But it's a long season, so we just got to keep building and keep getting better and try to take care of business this week. But at the same time, we have to just focus on today, and that's all we can do.
I've got 2 final questions, and I'll get you out of here. 2 questions I've never asked you before. You guys are going to Buffalo, home of the Buffalo Wings. When it comes to chicken wings, are you a drums guy or a flats guy?
I'm a flats guy for the most part, but I like them both. I'm not picky at all. Like whatever I get, and I'm just gonna devour them.
That's kind of where I am with chicken too. People always say this, like, bro, I just like chicken. Like, you eat the drums, I'll eat the flats, whichever one. As long as the chicken's good, I don't care.
That's 100%. I'm the same way. Like, I know people are super picky on which one they're getting. I'm just whenever I get wings, I'm just grabbing what's there and I'm eating them.
All right, I'm gonna give you my favorite 3 wing flavors, and I want to know what yours are. I'm gonna go lemon pepper 1. I like a good Cajun rub, Louisiana rub, and I also like garlic parmesan. Whenever you're ordering wings, what are your 3 favorite wing flavors?
Yeah, first like a barbecue, honey barbecue. I mean, I always love that. I know it's kind of original, but I like that. I like the regular hot, just like regular hot wings, and then I would probably say garlic parmesan's my 3rd one. But I'm not same thing, man. I'll eat a lot of different flavors of wings. That's just kind of the 3 go-tos I go to.
If you guys had a wing competition in the locker room, every player's there, who can eat the most wings in a 10-minute setting, like Joey Chestnut style, who wins the contest?
Trey Smith, no doubt.
Hands down. You didn't even hesitate on that one.
No, right when you started answering the question, I knew who I was answering.
That's the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, joining us on the show today as they get ready for one of the biggest matchups in the regular season, Chiefs and Bills. Patrick, man, great talking to you, man. Appreciate your time as always.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Every Tuesday, we catch up with the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. If you missed any part of our conversation, catch it again coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. The 5 o'clock hour today is going to be commercial-free, so you don't need to turn that dial and go anywhere. Rob, you heard my top 3. I would say lemon pepper 1. I love a good Cajun rub and a garlic Parmesan. Where are you at? What are your top 3 wing flavors, Rob? Give me your top 3 wing flavors.
See, I've heard you have this wing flavor take before about how you don't like buffalo, but I like the buffalo wing. So I'm going to have it in my top 3.
I want to be clear here. I don't hate
the
regular
overrated
buffalo sauce. I just think that we have evolved and that there are better kinds of wings. But if that's the only wings that are available here are the buffalo wings, sure, I'll eat the buffalo wings and I'll be happy with it. But if we go to Buffalo Wild Wings or Wingstop, where you're going to give me 17 different flavors, no, buffalo is not one of the ones I will be ordering.
Buffalo's in one of the ones I'll be ordering. But can I pick my type of buffalo sauce? The peanut sauce is my buffalo sauce of choice. I love a nice garlic Parmesan. It's a nice change of pace. And then, like you mentioned, the Buffalo Wild Wings, I like a dry, like desert heat or something where it's hot, but it's like a different heat because it's dry rub heat. Those are my top 3. Regular buffalo, garlic Parmesan, and then like a dry heat, like a desert heat over at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Text line 913-586-7965. Give us your top 3 wing flavors. You know mine. You also know Rob's. Give us your top 3 wing flavors. All right, I want to play this for you because we might need to do an emergency drive investigation. So MVS was interviewed, and you might be thinking, why did somebody interview Marquez Valdez-Scantling? Well, this week he had 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. MVS had one of the better fantasy days this weekend in the National Football League. Yes, that is surprising to me as well, but MVS was out there cooking this weekend. So he went on the Kay Adams show and he was asked, hey, you've played with a lot of great quarterbacks. You've played with Aaron Rodgers. You played with Patrick Mahomes. You played with Josh Allen. Kind of. Who's the best out of those 3? Here was his answer.
I mean, with that guy, you always got a shot. I think he's the best to ever play this game at the quarterback position. So if you got, that guy on your team, you always got a shot to win. He's one of my favorite teammates that I've ever had, one of my closest friends that I've ever made in the NFL, him and Devontae. So just with those 2 guys alone, you always got a shot, and they'll figure it out. They'll turn it around. I know the competitive nature that those 2 guys have and how much they actually care about winning. And I think that they'll figure it out.
They're 2 games out of a playoff spot. You're saying he's the best ever.
Yeah, I think he's the best ever. And like I said, I played with some of the best to ever do it. And I think Pat is right behind him. I think Josh is equally as talented as all those guys.
All right, love that.
Is this hate? Now, I understand that not everybody has to have the same opinion. Some people can think that Jordan's the best. Some people can think LeBron's the best. Some people, I get it. I understand. Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback of all time. That's an opinion. That's a real take. That's a thought that someone has, especially when you always made it to the AFC Championship game. You won multiple Super Bowls with an individual. Aaron's the best that ever done it. No one thinks this. I'm serious. I'm not even sure if Green Bay people think this. Like right now, we called in the Green Bay's afternoon show and just asked, hey, all time, who's better, Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers? They would also answer Patrick Mahomes. He's the best to ever do it. This feels like a little hateration to me. It feels like a little sodium. It feels like a little bit of hate. Maybe I'm off base here. 913-586-7965. I'm hearing some hate in his voice. I can hear it in his tone. He's the best to ever do it. Do what? What are you talking about? If you're saying he's the best quarterback to be a regular guest on Pat McAfee, sure. That's the only thing he's the best at. That's a wild opinion to have about Aaron Rodgers.
I like how Kay set it up, too. So you think he's the best ever? 2 games out of a playoff spot?
that was nasty work from Kay. Why did she say it like that?
Just a reminder, his team stinks, but you're still sticking with it, huh?
That is what he did.
She tried to throw him the lifeline by saying that. And he was like, nah, I played with some greats. She's like, okay. At the end, you hear it. Love that. Great.
That is what
Good
happened.
talk.
That is what happened. Are you sure the quarterback of the Jets, he's the best? This is the thing I don't understand about MVS is Aaron don't even like you like that. You want to know how I know? Is you were just available, and Aaron didn't seem too concerned with going to get you. He would have went to go get Randall Cobb. He would have went to go get Alan Lazard. Aaron don't like you like that. That's not your boy. I mean, I guess it's also possible Pat doesn't like you like that. You were available and you went to go play with Derek Carr. So maybe neither one of them like you like that. But you ain't Aaron's boy like that. Trust me, Aaron wouldn't say those same things about you, Mr. Applebee's. I can't believe MVS. I had the red zone on one of the TVs, and I'm sitting there, I'm watching the Chiefs game, and it's on the same time, and I look up, I was like, yo, somebody cooking for the Saints right now. I know that ain't who I think it is. That's MVS. Now you can catch deep balls. You couldn't do none of that last season with the Chiefs. Now you turned into Jeremy Maclin from 2011 all of a sudden. I never saw any of that in Kansas City. He had Derek Carr looking like Joe Montana out there on Sunday. I don't know what got into MVS. I really don't know what happened, but he was incredible on Sunday. I didn't see any of that. No, he did it one time. That one AFC championship game, he played well for the Chiefs. That's it. They gave him all that money to play well one time.
Nah, he played okay against the Jags in the divisional round. He had a good playoff run. 2 of the 3 games, he was fine. They also targeted him on the most important game of the Ravens game last year, which is just banana land to me. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was still stunned. I was stunned that MVS, absolutely stunned that was
What's
the case.
more stunning, his performance or the fact that Kay Adams reached out to the Saints PR staff and she said, you know who I want on my show? And they were like, oh, Alvin Kamara? No, I don't want Alvin Kamara. How about our new coach? He just was want to know. No thanks. You know, Cam Jordan's a big personality. Nope. I want Marquez Valdez-Scantling on FanDuel TV. Bring him to me.
Yeah, go get him.
That's the first time Saints PR has heard that request.
Yeah, no, nobody.
Or any PR staff.
Nobody has requested MVS. No, you're 100% sure there. Before we'll get to cover 3 here coming up in a bit, I do want to give KU their props. They had a great weekend, great win against North Carolina on the hardwood, great win at home against Iowa State. You said it, Rob, and I will give you this. You said that KU was going to play spoiler down the stretch. They spoiled things for Iowa State. There is another team that they could potentially play spoiler for. I guess 2 teams. They could play spoiler for BYU and also Colorado. We'll talk about their team here coming up in just a bit. It is kind of crazy to think this. And maybe this is just somebody who grew up in Kansas City. So I know. It is wild to me that the Chiefs, like right before our eyes, transformed into the New England Patriots. Just think about it. You know, I'm under 40. Rob, you're under 40. All we know is Patriots dominance. I kind of remember the Cowboys being great. I remember the Broncos runs in the late 90s and the Packers had their little bit of run, but we are at the age where you remember exactly where you were when you were watching the Tuck Rule. You remember the controversy about continuing to let Tom Brady be the starter and not going back to Drew Bledsoe. Like, we saw that thing brick by brick. And remember all the games, all the controversies, all of those things. It is wild to me that the Chiefs turned into that team. It is also wild to me that the Chiefs are now in the middle of what is going to be the defining rivalry for this generation. The same way that Patriots and Colts or Patriots and Broncos was the generation's defining games. Your 14-year-old son, when you ask him, hey, give me some great, he is going to say Chiefs and Bills. Maybe he'll say Chiefs and Bengals, but we got to see more games against Cincinnati, right? Like, there has to be more memories, more games. But when you think about the last 5 years, whether it is the iconic image of Diggs standing there and watching the confetti come down as the Chiefs go to another Super Bowl, whether it's the Kadarius Toney, whether it is Patrick Mahomes having his George Brett moment where he is just yelling at anybody that will listen, whether it is the 13 seconds, like, The team that Pat probably has the most of those iconic memories against, that team is probably the Buffalo Bills. And we'll see if he can add to that this weekend in it is the most important game in the AFC. We'll see what happens in the NFC. That could end up being Commanders and Eagles. We'll see who ends up being the 1 seed. Probably will be the Detroit Lions. But this Sunday, it is the defining matchup. If the Chiefs win on Sunday, it is going to be very difficult for you to create a pathway in which Baltimore catches them or Buffalo catches them. And it really comes down to, do you think the Chiefs are going to have a better record than the Pittsburgh Steelers? And I think we all agree, yeah, they are. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll be joined by Matt Verierman of Sports Illustrated. Coming up on the other side, Rob, let's talk a little bit of college football as your Kansas Jayhawks had one of the more impressive wins of the weekend. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com. And remember,
you're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrstormcheck.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Truck drivers, don't wait until 2025 to find a more reliable career. At Schneider, you'll enjoy reliable freight, a consistent schedule, the home time you want, and top quality driver support. No matter what kind of driving job or home time you're looking for, we have an opportunity for you. Plus, by driving for one of America's busiest carriers, you'll stay busy throughout the holiday season and into the new year. Don't wait. Search jobs near you and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com. Selling a home is stressful and you want an agent you can trust. My friend Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty, will bring the most buyers. Find out what your home is worth in a matter of seconds at homesforsaleandkc.com. Click the button, how much is your home really worth? Then you can decide if you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold with their instant offer program. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team. Google Sharp Homes team or visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar! La, 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 la. It's been a long time.
The official Eras Tour book coming to Target on November 29th, featuring over 500 photographs from the tour, including never-before-seen performance and behind-the-scenes images. And for the first time, the Tortured Poets Department, The Anthology, with 35 tracks on CD and vinyl.
Only at Target.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? 'Cause I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
You okay?
Sorry. I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic is brought to you by Park and Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Heaviest traffic right now is heading into downtown via southbound 35 over the Bond Bridge and then the southern lanes of the downtown loop. Also starting to see brake lights into downtown via northbound 35. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park and Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7, fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Time to check in on MIZ, K-State, and KU. Let's go cover 3.
Ready, break!
Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll be joined by Matt Verierman of Sports Illustrated. We'll dive back into the NFL. Let's talk a little bit of college football. KU deserves some credit for how they have turned their season around. Now, this season is still disappointing. They're still not going to make a bowl game. But you know what? This team can still ruin Christmas for some other teams. Iowa State was overvalued. They've lost their last 2 games. Let's remove Iowa State from playoff conversations right now. There's still 2 teams ahead of KU that very much are still alive. They play BYU this weekend on the road. They also play Colorado at home. I would guess, this is just my hunch here, I don't think KU goes 0-2 in those 2 games. I think they get one more of those wins. This is the team that finally looks like the team that we thought they could at the very beginning of the season. They're cutting down on the turnovers. This team can run the football. This team is well coached. This is the team that you thought could be a dark horse in the Big 12 from the very beginning of the season. It took them a while, but I think as you've seen, as their quarterback has gotten healthier, as he's gotten more experience and knocked some of the rust off, KU has not been a bad team for the last 4 weeks or so.
As a Kansas fan, it is everything you're saying is correct, but it is infuriating because you're starting to see it. Even in losses, they looked good against K-State. They just turned the ball over one too many times, and they did not give themselves a chance to win. But they were in a game against a ranked team on the road in a rivalry game. Carrington, how many times have we seen a KU team go in Manhattan and compete? It's rare. They were the better team on Saturday against Iowa State. They are looking like the team I talked about in August. The problem is when you don't look at that team until November, you don't look at that team until Halloween, you just give yourself no chance to do something special and even less chance to even make a bowl game. I agree with you. They have 3 games left. Baylor, who standings-wise is better than them, Colorado and BYU, who are both in the hunt. KU could easily be 2-1 in that stretch, but 2-1 in that stretch means 5-7, and you're looking back at the season with massive disappointment. It's both a gift and a curse. You see they're playing well, but you get frustrated. Oh my goodness, where was this in September and October?
Yeah, I would say, ever since the Houston game, they got off to a slow start. There's no denying that. You can't go back. They played, over this stretch, they have played the best teams in the Big 12. They had the ball late with the chance to beat K-State. They just beat Iowa State. They play BYU and Colorado. They're going to play both of those two teams tough, and just based on what we have seen them do for the past month, again, I think it's a possibility that KU wins at least one of those two games and really ruins things. Colorado right now, they control their own destiny. If Colorado wins the remainder of the season, they are going to the college football playoff. They will have the tiebreaker over any team or have a better record in the Big 12 than any team. And Colorado is going to the Big 12 championship with a chance to go to the college football playoff. If you look at Colorado's schedule down the stretch, they play Utah, they go on the road and they play KU, and they play Oklahoma State, a team that looks like they are ready for their season to be over. Oklahoma State, they are as equally disappointing as KU has been this season. I think you have to pick Colorado to win at home. It really comes down to that road game against KU. KU is playing like a team. Colorado is probably a 4.5 point favorite in that game, maybe a 5.5 point favorite. But given what we just saw KU do to Iowa State, you definitely give them more than a puncher's chance of being able to knock out Colorado.
I would say, I don't think it's a 50-50 proposition, but you probably go into that game feeling the same way you did against Iowa State. And I would imagine odds makers will feel the same way. Like right now, I know a lot can change in a week. Right now, you think Colorado's 3.5, 4 point favorite at Arrowhead against KU? Kind of in that ballpark? That feels eerily similar to what we saw against Iowa State, and that will be the last game most KU fans ever get to see Devin Neal play football. Like, KU has a chance to be a real spoiler here. And if you're a K-State fan, I know they were just coming off a bye and an absolutely horrible loss to Houston. If you're an EMAW fan right now, you got to put on your crimson and blue, because you need KU to beat either BYU or Colorado, and then you have a chance to get back to Arlington. You control your own destiny again. You ruined that by losing in front of dozens of fans, but you can get that back if the Jayhawks help you out.
Let's talk about Missouri here for a little bit, because they played this past weekend. I don't think that Missouri can get back into the college football playoff conversation. If your best win is going to be against Vanderbilt and you got blown out by the other two teams that are in contention, I don't think that it is realistic for you to be in that conversation. I know that on SEC Network, they just kept pushing that like crazy. Like, oh, Missouri's still in it, percentage chance. They could have 2 losses. Sure. They have to go on the road and beat South Carolina. And right now, I don't care what the records say, South Carolina is playing better and is a better team than Missouri. We also haven't seen Missouri compete against a team like South Carolina that has really played good football over the course of the last couple of weeks. They dominated A&M, a team that Missouri had all the trouble with, and they also went on the road and beat Vanderbilt pretty comfortably this past weekend. Missouri's a 13 point underdog, maybe 11, maybe the line. I can't remember the last time what it was, but they are a double-digit underdog against South Carolina. Can they keep it close? I think their defense gives them a chance. Are they going to have enough offense? I give Missouri credit for 2 things, and I'm part of this too. Missouri fans have been real woe is me this season about their year, and I get it. You had playoff-level expectations. Missouri's going to win 8 or 9 games in a disappointing year. Mississippi State is terrible. Arkansas at home is also a game that you should win. If you were telling me the worst possible outcome is that Missouri goes 9-3 in a season with a chance to win double-digit games in a bowl game, maybe the season wasn't as bad as we think that it is. I hope that they unlock something with Drew Pine in the fourth quarter of that game, because I was sitting there watching the game on Saturday, and I was trying to figure out how that kid got a scholarship to go play football at Notre Dame. Like, I've seen Notre Dame play football, and I can only imagine how good you have to be at high school football for you to get a scholarship offer from Notre Dame and play at Notre Dame. That was not the quarterback that Missouri had for the first 3 quarters of the game. That kid looked like he had never played D3 level football, let alone high D1 football. But they started letting him throw the ball down the field, and they didn't act afraid of him making plays in the second half of that game, and he helped get them back into it. That is their only chance of going on the road and beat South Carolina. South Carolina, I think, has a little bit more consistent offensive talent than they've had. They're certainly, I would say, better equipped at quarterback, and you're going on the road to play a team that's playing with all the momentum. If Missouri can win that game, it's going to be some pretty interesting conversations. Again, I don't think it's enough for them to get back into the playoff conversation. I don't think Missouri should be in the playoff conversation. But there is still a 10-win season that is somewhere in there for the Missouri Tigers. If they can figure out a way to go on the road and pull off the upset against South Carolina, and their defense should give them a chance to do that. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to get back to the NFL. We're going to catch up with Matt Verierman of Sports Illustrated and break down what happened on Sunday against the Broncos and also look ahead to Chiefs and Bills. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic is brought to you by Park and Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Heaviest traffic right now is heading into downtown via southbound 35 over the Bond Bridge and then the southern lanes of the downtown loop. Also starting to see brake lights into downtown via northbound 35. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park and Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7, fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Whether you're digging a pond, clearing brush, grading property, or doing demo, Foley Equipment, your local Caterpillar dealer, is your one-stop shop. Buy or rent, Foley Equipment has the machines you need to get the job done. And right now, Foley has 0% financing for 48 months on new cat skid steers, mini excavators, and compact track loaders. Stop by any Foley Equipment location today or visit us at FoleyEQ.com. That's FoleyEQ.com.
Winchester at Lake City Army Ammunition Plant in Independence is the largest manufacturer of small caliber ammunition for the U.S. military. They're hiring technicians starting at $26.72 an hour with a $1,000 hiring bonus. Excellent day one benefits include medical, dental, educational support, paid time off, and company retirement contributions up to 8%. Join Winchester and serve the U.S. warfighter. It's more than a job. It's a mission. Apply at winchester.com/careers.
Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer? You want the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. That's KCPI, the Kansas City Proton Institute. KCPI has a full suite of the most advanced imaging and treatment technology necessary to localize high-intensity proton beams. That's a critical part of maximizing cure rates while minimizing recovery time and long-term side effects. Proton therapy provides patients with the most advanced form of radiation treatments for cancer. It destroys cancer cells with supreme accuracy, reducing the risk of harmful side effects. KCPI has Kansas City's first and only system that uses pencil beam technology, resulting in precision targeting and less radiation to your surrounding healthy tissue. Proton therapy is now available in the comfort of an office at KCPI, making it more efficient and affordable than a hospital. So contact KCPI for the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. Don't wait. Get precision technology with the highest safety measures with KCPI. Online at kcpi.com.
The election is finally over. Now you can get the cash you need. Imagine what you could do with $50,000. Pay off credit cards, do home improvements, or even pay off auto loans. It's 5.25%. There's no out-of-pocket costs, so call today and make no payments until next year. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Old Landing cured my blues.
6.19 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are sold.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large, because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Tune in this week to Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti, where they break down all the headlines in the NFL. Presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on the iPhone 16 Pro.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC homebuyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
It's winter clearance time at Volkswagen Lee Summit. Get up to $5,000 off the 24 Jetta, 24 Taos, and 24 Tiguan, and up to $8,000 off the 24 Atlas and Atlas Crossport. Hurry in before we sell out of 24s. Visit VWLeeSummit.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. We got a new function on the Odyssey app.
Did you guys know that this is a thing? I can send you messages from the Odyssey app. Kind of crazy.
KFNZ FM and AM HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here. Let's head to the phone lines right now. Be joined by Matt Verierman of Sports Illustrated. Let's get his thoughts on Sunday's win against the Broncos. Also, look ahead to their game against the Buffalo Bills. Matt, appreciate you coming on. Let's start with this because, Chiefs fans, they hate John Elway. John Elway ruined so many of their fall Sundays as children. Who is your John Elway? Because I bring this up because that's who Patrick Mahomes is to a lot of kids. It doesn't matter if you live in Los Angeles, you're a big Chargers fan, maybe you're a Bills fan, a Bengals fan. Patrick Mahomes has ruined so many of your Sundays. Who was that person for a young Matt Verierman?
Well, as a kid, even though I grew up in New York, I grew up a diehard Chiefs fan, so it was John Elway. He tortured me as a kid, although I guess, as a kid, I always have that Monday night game with Montana. But, yeah, Elway was public enemy number one in our household for sure.
No, that makes perfect sense. And I also know enough that you are a Knicks fan. I'm guessing Michael Jordan was that person for you as well.
Honestly, he was in a way, but it was weird. Like, even as a kid, I hated when he played the Knicks, but I loved the guy so much as a player. Like, if they weren't playing the Knicks, I loved watching him. If I had to pick another guy, it would have been Reggie Miller. Like, it was I got to meet Reggie Miller like 10 years ago, and I got to tell him how much I hated him. And it was actually funny because he's a great guy. So we ended up having like a really nice conversation. I told him, I couldn't stand you as a kid. He said, "Oh, you're from New York?" I said, "Yeah." And we started, laughed, and I laughed. We started talking. Great guy. Like, it kind of took a lot of my ability to hate him out of it after talking to him for 5 minutes. But, yeah, as a kid, like, Elway, Reggie Miller, those would have been the guys, like, right at the top of the list.
This is where I want to start our conversation today because you and I are around the same age. And I'm guessing that you and I had very similar feelings. We watched the Patriots dominate the NFL for 20 years. And I'm sure you thought what I thought. Man, we'll never see anything like this again. Like, their dominance, their reign, it will never be matched. And then just like 24 months later, there is a team that is just taken over, and now they do everything that the Patriots used to do. They get the same complaints. You remember what people say, oh, man, roughing the passer, you can't hit Tom Brady, they cheat, it's skewed for him to win, man, this thing is fixed. Everybody now says that about the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, this is the highest honor that I think you can give any team is they always find a way to win, or that the league is just designed for one team to win all the games.
Yeah, I personally enjoy how everything's rigged crowd just casually overlooks it. If everything was rigged, do you think the Jets and the Giants would suck this bad for the last 12 years? or that the Cowboys would just be completely irrelevant for 30 years running. It's as someone who just cannot stand intellectual dishonesty, it's annoying in one corner, but to your point, like, the reason people say it is because there's nothing else to say. All they do is win. They beat everybody they play. They aren't overwhelming, but they're relentless. To that point, I'm sitting there, and I write my weekly column for SI where I go through every game, and so I'm kind of writing as the day's unfolding, and I'm watching that end of the Chiefs-Broncos game, and I went to start to write the game with like a minute to go as the Chiefs were out of timeouts, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to start writing that game because it's the Chiefs. They might do something. They might block a kick, whatever. And, the second the ball snapped, you could see it. You could see it coming. The whole left side of the line caved in. You're like, either this is getting blocked or Lutz is going to kick this between like forearms. Because I think Chanel, if he didn't get it, I think Karlaftis would have gotten it. So, they're better than everybody else. That's why they win. And that's why, if they beat Buffalo, we're going to start having a real interesting conversation about them going down the stretch.
Yeah, I have been very hesitant to have they're going undefeated conversation, but after they blocked that kick, I was thinking, man, they might actually do it. Like, at this point, I just don't know how you can tell the Chiefs no, they can't do something. I feel like we've all done that in varying degrees over the last 5 years, whether it was, when Pat dislocated his knee, whether it was trading Tyreek Hill. Like, we've kind of said, all right, this is where you guys have to regroup or you take a little bit of a step back. Now the next thing is you guys can't go undefeated and you can't win 3 Super Bowls. No one's ever done that before. And just every week, whether it was week 1 against Baltimore, whether it was the week 2 win against the Bengals, last week against Baker Mayfield, they just figure out a way over the course of 60 minutes to have more points than their opposition.
Yeah, and again, look, sometimes the most obvious answer is the answer. They're just better than everybody else. They are. I mean, do you want to say the Lions? Okay. That's fine. The Lions are a really good team. That would be an amazing Super Bowl if it comes to pass. But they're better than these teams. Like, look, I have a lot of respect for Baltimore. I think Lamar Jackson's having a phenomenal year. I think people kind of want to confirm priors with him, but, like, he's become a much better passer. They're better than Baltimore. Baltimore's giving up more passing yardage per game than the Chiefs are giving up total yardage per game. Like, they're better than them. And if they see them in the playoffs, they'll probably beat them. Buffalo, I have a lot of respect for Buffalo. Allen is the closest thing we have to Mahomes. They're better than Buffalo. Now, maybe this Sunday they don't win. Buffalo's going to be motivated. They're at home, all the rest of it. But if you said to me in a playoff team, you got to bet your mortgage who you think's going to win, Kansas City. And look, I have, like you, stayed away from the whole, can they go undefeated? Because that's a silly conversation until they get to a certain point. If they beat Buffalo, I think that conversation becomes, if not valid, so to speak, it becomes like a reasonable discussion because they got the Panthers and the Raiders after the Bills. Unless they have a collapse, they're going to be 12-0 if they beat Buffalo. Like, you'd start looking at it and going, all right, I mean, they could. And then it becomes, okay, A, will they? And B, if they get far enough down the stretch, are they going to sit guys? If they wrapped everything up 3 weeks early, are they just going to not go for it? Or is Andy going to push and try to go 17-0 and win a Super Bowl?
I've kind of set the date where they have to be undefeated at Black Friday for me to start to really have that conversation. I actually think they're in this position too, and I'm curious to get your thoughts. We can look ahead just a little bit. I actually would advocate for them to play the Broncos game, the final game of the season, because the argument would be, so let's say that the Chiefs are 16-0. Let's go down this road. They are 16-0 heading into that Broncos game. If you don't play in that Broncos game, you're going to go 3 weeks without playing any football. Yep. You're going to go from Christmas until the second week in January without playing a team. I actually think that it's in Kansas City's interest if they get there to play that game against the Denver Broncos for that reason.
So we're in lockstep here, but I'll give you a wrinkle to this. That would be really fascinating. Let's say they start out 15-0, which would mean beating Houston on December 21st. And let's say at that point, they will have clinched everything. The number 1 seed, there's nothing to play for. Do they sit their guys 15-0 on Christmas Day in Pittsburgh on this big Netflix package the NFL has and basically just spit in the NFL's eye and say, we don't care. We don't care about this. you can enjoy Carson Wentz on Christmas. You can enjoy all of our backups. Nobody's playing. The Steelers can win 50-0, and then we will play the following weekend, even if just for a half or something like that to keep fresh. I wonder if they got to that point, if they would yank everybody, and the NFL is stuck with a hideous Christmas Day game with the Chiefs. I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me that just says if they're undefeated, guys like Mahomes and Kelsey and Chris Jones will just lose their minds if they bench them. But you're not playing to go 17-0. You're playing to win a third straight Super Bowl. So it's very interesting. Like, I don't know where I land on it. I think they would go for it. I think they would try to do it. But I could also see Andy being cautious depending on how much guys are beat up.
Right now, we're talking to Matt Verierman of Sports Illustrated here for a couple of minutes. See, text line, that is the only undefeated conversation I will have between now and Black Friday. You guys know my rules. Let me ask you some non-Chief stuff, and I do want to get to Sunday's game against the Buffalo Bills. I like this Broncos team. Like, I'm looking at the rest of the AFC, and I think the playoff picture is kind of clear. I think there's 5 teams that I would consider to be a lock. I am strongly leaning toward the Chargers making the postseason, and it really comes down to these 3 teams: Denver, Indianapolis, or Cincinnati, and you'd have to really do some work to get me to think that Miami can go from 3-6 to they're going to win 9 games and make the postseason. I'm just not there yet. Who do you like out of that Broncos, Colts, and Bengals group that could potentially grab that 7 seed?
I'm going to take the Bengals, but I'm going to give it a caveat. They play the Broncos. I want to say it's the next to last week of the year. That game, in my opinion, is going to be for the playoffs. Like, the Bengals' schedule is not that tough. They do have to play Pittsburgh twice, once including on the last day of the year. And they have a game this Sunday night against the Chargers, which is a very interesting game. But I think if the Bengals beat Denver, that game is in Cincinnati, I think they probably go, they can get to 9-8, get away in. Now, look, they've been weird all season, but I think they do it. Denver's schedule is hard, but as we just sat here and talked about, we don't know what Week 18 is going to look like. The Chiefs might play nobody in that game, and then all of a sudden it's a hell of a lot easier. I don't believe in the Colts, and I'm somebody who picked the Colts to be the 7th seed to start the year. They're just getting nothing from their quarterbacks, nothing. The defense isn't particularly good. They got the Jets this week in MetLife. It's a must-win. Then they come home and play the Lions, who I can't imagine they're going to beat. I think Cincy gets in, but I will say Denver has – I thought Denver was going to be bad this year, like real bad. I got to hand it to them. I don't think they're great by any stretch, but they're a respectable team. They're a 500 level team. That's a lot more than I thought they were going to be.
I really struggle with Cincinnati because let's say you remove the games against Kansas City. They're 13-12 in their last 25 games. The Bengals just haven't shown me nearly enough consistency to think that they're going to go, 5-2 down the stretch and make the postseason. I'm just not a Bengals believer. I think there's a lot of things to like about that Broncos team. Bo Nix is a little bit better. They got a couple of different rushing options. They might have one of the 3 best defenses in the AFC. I think Denver has shown to be a more consistent team than Indianapolis, Cincy, and Miami so far this year.
It's fair. Look, Denver is very, very good defensively. And, look, that game against Kansas City showed it. I mean, Mahomes missed a few throws in that game. I think you like that back. If he has those throws, they win pretty comfortably. But he didn't have those throws. And so, Denver could sit there and go, hey, look, if we block for a 35-yard field goal, we win. And that's totally valid, too. It's true. The Bengals, look, I kind of throw last year out in the sense, I know Burrow was never healthy, except for like 2 weeks, and then he got hurt and was out for the year. The way I always look at Carrington is this: with teams like that are on the bubble, if I'm a 2 seed, a 3 seed, who do I not want to play? And I got to tell you, if I'm Buffalo or Baltimore, the last thing in the world I want to see in Wild Card Weekend is the Bengals rolling into town. They are not good defensively, but they've been in a million big games. And Burrow is having a phenomenal year. Chase is having a phenomenal year. Like, that's just, I guess the easiest way to put it. They're one of those teams, they could just score 40 and you lose. And that's it. Like, Baltimore's beaten them twice. Baltimore is so unbelievably fortunate they didn't lose to them twice. And the Bills, if I'm the Bill, listen, with all due respect to Bo Nix, give me Bo Nix. Like, I don't want to see Joe Burrow in a playoff game. So I still think they're the most dangerous. And, but they got to step up. They got to play them. They have not played well enough.
I hate to bury a team as good as the Baltimore Ravens, but I don't know if on one side we can say that defense wins championships, and then you're telling me that Baltimore can win the Super Bowl with that defense. Their defense is bad, and you're telling me that you're going to be able to navigate in 3 straight weeks where you're going to play 3 good quarterbacks and teams that can pass the ball, and you're going to trust that passing defense to hold up. It kind of feels like the Ravens are at that place that the Chiefs were at in 2018. All right, you've got the best offense in the league, but you can't be 31st in defense and think that you're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying the Ravens got to be Pittsburgh or Denver or Kansas City defensively. You got to figure out a way to get to the middle of the pack, or you're not navigating through the AFC playoffs.
That was basically my column after the Thursday night game against Cincinnati, and a lot of Ravens fans got somewhat annoyed with me, although some were pretty level-headed. My point was basically, look, you're not going through the AFC with that pass defense. You're not. You're going to lose. It's just going to happen. Like, the problem with the Ravens, to me, is two-pronged. One is, in the AFC, let's say Burrow gets in. Let's say they're the 7th seed. You have a playoff scenario that in all likelihood where the quarterbacks are Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, Herbert, Stroud, and then even Russell Wilson. You want to toss him in there. You're going to beat 3 of those teams? Good luck. You can't stop anybody. So that's number one. Like you literally are the worst pass defense right now by yards per game allowed in the NFL. Number 2, that offense is awesome, but I look at that offense and I say, in a playoff game, are you not just putting 7, 8 guys in the box? And if you have one good corner, locking them on Flowers, like if Kansas City plays them, you and I both know how they're going to play that game. They're going to put 1 million guys down the box. They're going to put McDuffie on Flowers, and they're going to say, beat me. Beat me anywhere else. And, is Deontay Johnson and those tight ends, are they going to do it? Maybe. But I think, because of that defense, you're going to have to score 35 points. And that's a big ask, man. That's a really big ask. If you fall behind, all of a sudden you can't run the ball. It changes everything. I think the Bills are a bigger threat to get out of the AFC than the Ravens are.
I want to get to Chiefs and Bills here coming up momentarily. I have one question, and then we'll do that. You're in Chicago. What are the Bears doing? We're having a conversation this week about them benching Caleb Williams for Tyson Bagent. I can't believe this, just given their track record. I can't believe that the Bears are going to botch a young quarterback. They've never done this before.
Yeah, people out here are pretty much catatonic. Look, you watch them, though, and they fire Shane Waldron. And that seems to be a thing. Like the Raiders just fire their entire offensive coaching staff. Like somehow it's Luke Getsy's fault that the Raiders can't score a point. But with the Bears and firing Waldron, okay, that doesn't fix your offensive line. That doesn't fix the locker room and the way that thing's kind of fallen apart since that Hail Mary game, which had everything to do with the coaching and the defense, not the offense. I'm not saying Waldron didn't play a part in that. Okay, he wears it. He's the play caller. That's fine. That's his responsibility. Caleb Williams has not played well. I've watched, 80% of his snaps this year. He's not played well. Now, part of that is they don't block. Part of that is, Keenan Allen's in and out of the lineup, and he frankly does not look like the same player. But they have not done anything well offensively. They haven't. And so, look, they can fire Waldron all they want. Williams has to be more on time. They've basically got to completely overhaul their offense. I remember being at camp. It was the last camp stop I had in my tour for SI. And I remember them talking about how they didn't know who 3 of their 5 offensive linemen were, all 3 of the interior guys. They're all like, yeah, we don't know. It was August 15th. You've got to know that. It was, this thing, I think, had more red flags than maybe a lot of us kind of gave credit to it for.
Right now, we're talking to Matt Verierman of Sports Illustrated here for a couple more minutes. All right, let's move to the big game this weekend. It's hard to think of a bigger and more important game, certainly in the AFC. There will probably be a game that's equivalent in the NFC. The Commanders and Eagles will play later in the year, and that'll determine who's the 2 seed and who's the 5 seed in the playoffs. But this is as big as it gets. My first thought on this is just the power that Kansas City has with the win, or the power that Buffalo gets with the win. If Kansas City wins this game, they essentially bury Buffalo from the 1 seed conversation. It is the difference in being up 4 games as opposed to being up 1 game. You are not making up a 4-game deficit at this point in the season, but you can very easily make up a 1-game deficit at this point in the season.
Yes, And I think that really is the way to look at this game. Like, if the Chiefs win this game, with all due respect to the Steelers, this one seed's over. They're going to be the number one seed, which is insane. I can't remember any year, even with New England, where you looked at it and went, with 7 weeks left, they're the number one seed. If Kansas City wins this game, I mean, Pittsburgh's schedule is just so difficult, nobody's going to catch them. The Chiefs could go 4-3 the rest of the year, nobody's going to catch them. I think for the Bills, this is a much more important game for Buffalo. It's not that it's not important for the Chiefs, but the Chiefs, because they beat Denver, even if they go to Buffalo, they lose this game, they're 9-1. Fine. They're still winning the race. They can go play Carolina and Vegas and win those games. Meanwhile, the Bills, they have a bye after they play Kansas City. And their next 3 games are the Niners, at the Rams, at the Lions. They're probably losing at least one of those games, if not even 2 of them. So if you're the Chiefs, you're in great position walking out of Buffalo no matter what. But you're almost like locked into the 1 seed if you win this game Sunday. And yeah, look, it is. It's the game of the year to this point. There's been no game that's better than this one.
Let me ask you really quickly about the Chiefs' left tackle position. Are you hearing anything about Donovan Smith? Nate kind of said that they have him on kind of standby, so to speak. He's on speed dial if something goes wrong with Wanye and he's out for any length of time. The thing that confuses me the most is the Chiefs have been they were so emphatic that Kingsley was their starting left tackle for basically 5 months. We've seen, 8 quarters, 9 quarters of Kingsley in the NFL, and I've been able to tell you that guy is not a starting left tackle right now. That's not to say that he won't be next year or by year 3, but for 2024, he is not a starting caliber left tackle in the NFL.
No. My understanding from kind of poking around here, I don't think anything is imminent with Donovan Smith. I don't think that's a move that they're going to be making right now. Not to say they couldn't make it down the road. He obviously remains a free agent, but nothing is to my knowledge, in the works. I think that if something were to happen, if he re-aggravates the knee, he's got a bone bruise. If, let's say, they get in the game against Buffalo and he gets hurt, I think there's a very, very likely chance that Tooney would slide to left tackle and Caliendo would come in to replace Tooney at guard. I think that's what will happen. I do not believe they will play Suamataia again unless it is an absolute emergent, no other option situation. Look, that game, I mean, let's put it this way. I think the Chiefs saw what we all saw. There were 4 or 5 snaps. He did not touch the guy he was supposed to be blocking. And Nick Bonino, Chiefs fans owe him somewhat of a debt of gratitude. There were a couple times that he really wanted to just clean Mahomes' clock. He could have done it. He didn't do it. He hit him. He knocked him down, but he didn't bury his helmet in his back or something like that. I do not think, from conversations I've had, that we're going to be seeing Suamataia again, unless it is just they're down 4 offensive linemen and they have to put him in there. I think right now the game's too fast for him, and they know that.
Give me a key for a Bills win. Give me a keys for a Chiefs win.
The Bills have to run the football. If they don't run the football successfully, they're not going to win this game. They're not. They have to run the ball, especially with Coleman out. Cooper is iffy. Kincaid is iffy. They need to run the football, and it's not going to be easy. In the last 43 games the Chiefs have played, dating back to their bye week in 2022, including the playoffs, they've given up 5 100-yard rushers to running backs. It's not easy to do it. And 2 of those guys are on the Raiders, believe it or not. For the Chiefs to win the game, they've got to protect Mahomes. If the Chiefs can give Mahomes 3 seconds or more, I think they win. I think they will exploit the middle of the field. The Bills' safety play has been lacking this year. Milano's not in the middle of the field. I think they will throw to Hopkins. They'll throw to Kelce. I think we're going to see a ton of 2 tight end sets in this game. The Bills love to live in nickel. They don't change out of that a lot. So I think if you're Kansas City, you can kind of dictate the matchups in the game. And if they can protect Mahomes and give him some time, I think Mahomes could have a big day against Buffalo.
Last thing here, Matt, and we appreciate your time. We've been asking everybody this question today. Denzel recently said that he is winding down his career. He has a list of movies that he wants to do before he's done, and then he's out of here. What is your favorite Denzel Washington movie?
He is my favorite actor of all time, so I'm very sad about that. I think, it's hard to pin down. I would say Remember the Titans and Glory are 2 of my favorite movies. He's spectacular in a million different things I could mention, but those 2 really stick out. Philadelphia is another one. Those are all-time classics.
That is our guy, Matt Verierman, joining us on the show today. Be sure to give him a follow on Twitter. He does fantastic work for Sports Illustrated, covering the Chiefs and the NFL. Matt, great stuff as always, my man. I appreciate you.
Hey, you got it. No problem, Carrington.
Absolutely. That's Matt Verierman joining us on the show. Let's react to what he said about Kingsley Suamataia. We'll also play for you what Nate Taylor had to say earlier about the Chiefs left tackle. We have a commercial-free 5 o'clock hour. We were talking Chiefs and football the rest of the way. Keep it right here, so drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Get a brand new home without moving with Thermo King windows? What is this sorcery? Is there a catch? Of course there is. You already know that Thermo King sells energy-efficient triple glass replacement windows that can save you money on your energy bills. But did you know they also install James Hardy siding and beautiful entry doors as well? So you can make that tired old exterior of your home look brand new with replacement windows, siding, and a new entryway door from Thermo King. Your home will look so good, it could attract tens of thousands of followers on its own Instagram and TikTok pages. Plus, Thermo King offers significant savings when you replace any 2 of these items. Replace all 3? Look out! Thermo King will practically be paying you by the time it's done. So why move? Get a brand new looking home with Thermo King. Call 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
Thermo King Windows.
Hey, Kansas City, this is Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the Victory Effect, our pledge to drive down vehicle pricing for the city we love. I have some fantastic news to share with you all as we usher in the Ram Power Days for the month of October. MSRPs have dropped, rebates have increased, and the Federal Reserve has finally lowered interest rates. So along with that, Chrysler has just announced incentivized rates across our entire product lineup. Now, through the end of the month, well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 4.9% for 72 months on all 2025 Ram 1500s in stock. Not only can you take advantage of this great interest rate program, but as you all know, I'm going to throw unprecedented discounts on top of the incredible rates to get you an affordable monthly payment. If a Jeep or SUV is more of your liking, then come check out the new Wrangler or the new Jeep Grand Cherokee with special rates as low as 0% and once again paired with Victory's industry-leading pricing. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall, the Legends Auto Plaza, on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, just east of Nebraska Furniture Mart, or online at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Because right now, FanDuel is giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 bet on the NBA. I'm really excited to see if the Knicks can back up what they did a season ago. And even the MVP market, where Luka's the favorite at plus 330. If you're new to FanDuel, just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will automatically be charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering an online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunkt Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on 2 wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
This is the story of the one.
As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Slowest traffic right now, northbound 35 out of downtown over the Bond Bridge, eastbound 70 at the 435 exchange, and heading into downtown, also looking at slowdowns, northbound 35. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Trent McDuffie. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into The Drive. My name is Carrington Harrison. Rob is here as well. Let me tell you guys that the show is going to be commercial-free in the 5 o'clock hour. So you will hear from Patrick Mahomes, and you will get all the drive that you can handle for the final 60 minutes of the show. All right, this is what I would like to do. I want to play for you guys what Nate Taylor had to say earlier. I also want to play for you if you missed what Matt Verierman had to say. I don't think the Chiefs have too many weaknesses on their team. One weakness is left tackle. Now, we talked about it this week. I'm really surprised, that the Chiefs went the entire spring, the entire summer, telling us there was no left tackle competition for us to then see Kingsley eventually play. And yeah, there should have been a left tackle conversation. This is not an indictment on what Kingsley can be in 2025 or 2026, but we have seen enough this season and based on how the Chiefs have maneuvered around it to tell you that right now Kingsley Suamataia is not a starting left tackle in the National Football League, certainly not for a team that has the level of expectation that the Kansas City Chiefs do. We give Brett Veach a lot of credit, and he deserves a lot of credit, but I think we're starting to find out what some of his weaknesses are. This team has kind of misevaluated their tackle position. They gave Jawan Taylor a whole lot of money to play right tackle, and I don't think he's worth the contract that they gave him. And they kind of don't have a long-term solution at left tackle. They thought it could be Orlando Brown. Maybe they misplayed the market a little bit on him. They tried Donovan Smith. It was okay. They then drafted a little bit. You don't 100% feel like either one of those guys are ready to maybe take the reins and be a starting left tackle for this team. Now, I want to play for you guys what Nate Taylor had to say about Donovan Smith, because with the injury to Wanya Morris, Donovan Smith should be on a train ride or a plane ride or a boat ride, or I don't care how you got to get him here, but he should be coming to Kansas City shortly. Here's what Nate Taylor had to say.
Guys, he's ready. He's done the wise thing for him because he dealt with the neck, the stinger, the shoulder. That's the reason why Wanya played the last 5 or 6 games of the regular season last year, was because, hey man, you're getting old, and whether you're Jerick McKinnon or Donovan Smith, you're like, hey, man, call me when the games get real, which is essentially right now, kids. It's November. Guess what? We're back to real football, games that have stakes, where it's cold outside, when there's, when you need smart, competent players to limit your mistakes, right? To limit your exposure to your weaknesses versus trying to attack the other team's weaknesses. That's really what this comes down to.
I don't want to hear text line 913-586-7965. I don't want to hear that this is a salary cap issue. They have enough salary cap to sign Donovan Smith to a remainder of the year kind of deal. At this point, I would consider Donovan Smith to be a Terrell Suggs kind of move. a player that you picked up off waivers. I don't know how much money you'd be paying Donovan Smith for the second half of the season, but there are not many things I think that could do the Chiefs in. Sure, injuries are one of those things, but you have no control over an injury happens. They don't have many weaknesses that you can address anymore at this point. We're past the trade deadline. One of their weaknesses is left tackle, and that's a pretty important position. I'd argue it's one of the 5 most important positions on the field. So if you don't think that Kingsley is ready and you don't want to be in a situation where in the playoff an injury happens and now you got to put Kingsley Suamataia in, I will go ahead and hit up Donovan Smith. Now, you can always make the roster work to figure out one guy, and if you're telling me he comes in for the final 6 weeks of the year and you manage him and he's a break in case of emergency, fine, so be it. But that's the point that I'm at in this season. We're past the halfway point, and this team has given us no reason to believe that they think that Kingsley can be a starter, and he has given us no reason to believe, based on his play, that he is a starting caliber left tackle in the National Football League. I will go ahead and make that move, and I will go ahead and get Donovan Smith ready so he can help this team in their final 7-8 games of the year. I want to play for you guys what Matt Verierman had to say about Kingsley Suamataia.
I do not believe they will play Suamataia again unless it is an absolute emergent, no other option situation. Look, that game, I mean, let's put it this way. I think the Chiefs saw what we all saw. There were 4 or 5 snaps. He did not touch the guy he was supposed to be blocking. And Nick Bonino, Chiefs fans owe him somewhat of a debt of gratitude. There were a couple times that he really wanted to just clean Mahomes' clock. He could have done it. He didn't do it. He hit him. He knocked him down, but he didn't bury his helmet in his back or something like that. I do not think, from conversations I've had, that we're going to be seeing Suamataia again, unless it is just they're down 4 offensive linemen and they have to put him in there. I think right now the game's too fast for him, and they know that.
Just because Kingsley's not ready now doesn't mean that he's going to be a bust. I don't really think that the expectation is that your second-round offensive lineman can now step in and be the starting left tackle on a Super Bowl team. We used to kind of look at those picks as the Chiefs were stashing those players for the future. I mean, that's how we viewed Felix Anudike-Uzomah last year. This is a pick for the future. Sure, if you get contribution in year 1, you'll take it. I think the Chiefs have kind of set Kingsley up just based on the fact that they gave him the starting role so early on in the season. And, you know, we've seen this happen before. They did that with Creed Humphrey. He was certainly worth it, him being the starter from day one. They did that same thing with Trey Smith. He was certainly worth it from day one, and those guys have been the best players at their position. So I'm not here saying that Kingsley is a bust and that they messed up the draft. Not saying any of those things. I'm telling you that Kingsley looks like a normal rookie. And when they drafted Creed Humphrey, he was a special rookie. Trey Smith was a special rookie. I would say that Rashee Rice, in a lot of ways, was a special rookie. Not every player develops that way. Just because Rashee Rice developed that way doesn't mean that Xavier Worthy is going to develop that way. Just because Creed Humphrey could start from day one doesn't mean that Kingsley can start from day one. I don't know if you can have that guy be your starting left tackle. So I want to be clear. I don't think the Chiefs have a whole lot of weaknesses on this team. This is the best team in the National Football League. They got the best coach. They have arguably the best defense. There are a lot of positives. But if you had to kind of think, you know, as somebody who has money, hey, what are your liabilities? If we're looking at the Chiefs like that, what are their liabilities? What could get the Chiefs beat at some point? Their left tackle could get you beat at some point. It almost got them beat on Sunday. They couldn't protect that side of the field. It was bad. And that lack of being able to protect that side of the field made it a really difficult task for them to run the football on Sunday. It made it a really, really difficult task. So that's where I am with Kingsley. Go bring back Donovan Smith. There are not a lot of fixes that you can find in the middle of the season to this problem, but the same way that they do at wide receiver or some of the other positions, this is a guy that knows the system, knows the scheme, can step in from day one and potentially start for you in a playoff game. It's a no-brainer to me to go grab him.
The question becomes about him, because in Nate Taylor's cut, he said he's playing it smart. You know, he had the injuries last season. He missed games down the stretch, but he played in the playoffs. But Carrington, an aging left tackle who had injuries down the stretch and then is unsigned in November. Like, you're always one who tells me to do the say it out loud test. The same way we do with Hunter Renfrow or pick a guy who the text line loves at wide receiver but sits out there unsigned. If a player who dealt with injuries last year and is getting older is unsigned and we're 2 weeks from Thanksgiving, do you think that's a solution? I know it's possible he's better. He's definitely better than Kingsley. I know he's possible he's better than Wanye. But is one of the reasons the Chiefs have not done this move is because they might know something we don't know. Remember, they were the ones everyone was saying, hey, sign Juju, sign Juju. And then Juju signed for nothing in New England. Everyone said, huh? The Chiefs knew something we didn't. His body was breaking down. And we've seen it again in Kansas City. It's possible the left tackle available post-Halloween might not have the medical records a lot of people want him to have.
And I think that's a very, very fair point. But I think like most people have strengths and weaknesses. There are a lot of things that Brett Veach is really good at. Do you think they're really good at drafting and developing wide receivers? Because their track record would say, no, they're not really good at it. Do you think they're really good at drafting and developing tackles, in your opinion? Because I would say the history and the track record says that they're not really good at it. Anytime they've had a problem in this, they've normally gone outside the organization or outside of their own draft picks. We had the same conversation about Lucas Niang and that he was going to be good. We had the same conversation about Darian Kennard and he was going to be good. Now we have just switched the caps from red to blue, and we're having the same conversation now about Wanye Morris and Kingsley Suamataia. Sometimes having a weakness just means you need help. That's all you need. You need help. They need help from the outside. Go get Donovan Smith to potentially help you and at least give yourself the option. That's all they need. Give yourself the option that if something goes wrong, you've got the guy on the roster and you can go from there. Because this is too important of a position to leave by the wayside. They were in a bad spot on Sunday after Wanye Morris got hurt, and that could happen again just based on his track record and his career. Wanye could leave another game with injury, and you might not block an extra point every time you need to win this scenario. We see a problem coming. Go solve said problem. We got Patrick Mahomes coming up in about 20 minutes. We are going to have a commercial-free 5 o'clock hour. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. On your new home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here for our new friends over at Heartland's Men's Health. I recently learned something. Did you know that half of the men over the age of 50 experience erectile dysfunction? It also can affect younger men. ED isn't just a medical issue. It can take a toll on your confidence and your relationships. And over at Heartland Men's Health, they believe that ED is treatable, and their expert team offers up solutions with a success rate that's over 90%. You can enjoy intimacy without the anxiety. Take back control. And for just $99, your initial visit includes a medical consultation, test, and even a test dose. And if it doesn't work, your visit is on the house. It's totally free. Men are getting back to enjoying a vibrant sex life just one day after their appointment with my friends over at Heartland's Men's Health, and that's what I want for you. Go stop by any one of the 3 area locations, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Don't settle. Pick up the phone and call my friend at Heartland's Men's Health at 844-447-6600 or check out heartlandmenshealth.com. Get your life back today.
If you own or run a restaurant, I'm sure you'd rather it be known for its 5-star rating, not a 5-alarm fire. Keller Fire and Safety installs and services fire alarm systems, extinguishers, and kitchen hood suppression systems to keep your kitchen safer and better prepared to contain an emergency. Keller can handle any size project, with clients as large as Kauffman Stadium and as small as your local barbecue joint. Because charred, smoked, and blackened should only refer to menu items, not the rest of your restaurant.
Keller Fire and Safety.
KellerFire.com.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and our hotline is open. Annie from Kansas City, what's on your mind?
I want a dealership that I can trust for a lifetime. Is that you?
We're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. That's a good start.
I just want a great deal. That's all.
How about 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models? That'll get you a low monthly payment. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
Hi, I'm Kim Myers, owner of Top Notch Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. We'd love to help with your plumbing emergencies, but the best way to ward off those expensive repairs is to schedule a $74 home plumbing inspection. We're still celebrating our 50th anniversary with top-notch deals like cleaning your dusty, moldy ducts for only $4.95. Think your furnace won't make it through the winter? Save thousands on a new Daikin system. Go to topnotchheatingandair.com for details. Thanks, and have a top-notch day.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? Because I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
When your little one has a cold with a fever, try new Dayquil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever. It's the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Dayquil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever offers fast, effective cold and fever relief for kids ages 6 and up with a delicious grape flavor that kids love. New Dayquil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever will help them feel better fast so they can get back to the fun stuff quickly. New Dayquil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Slowest traffic right now, northbound 35 out of downtown over the Bond Bridge, eastbound 70 at the 435 exchange, and heading into downtown, also looking at slowdowns, northbound 35. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Patrick Mahomes joins CDOT every week during the season, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
All right, let me tell you what the next 90 minutes of the show is going to look like. The entire 5 o'clock hour is going to be commercial free. So it is just going to be me and you, your mama and your cousin too, taking you up until 6 o'clock. So we're going to hear from Patrick Mahomes coming up in about 15 minutes or so. We'll talk about the report earlier from Bob Fesco regarding the stadium. We'll talk about the Chiefs' left tackle situation, and we'll continue to celebrate their win over the Denver Broncos. Tomorrow, we'll start the transition a little bit more to the Bills game. It is, without question, the most important game in the AFC this season. It is not arguable. It is not debatable. The power that the Chiefs have winning this game versus losing this game is monumental. If they win, they have a 4-game lead over Buffalo in the final 7 weeks of the season. If they lose, they have a 1-game lead over them. So it cannot be undersold how important it is in the scheme of who gets the 1 seed on who wins or loses Sunday's matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you want to know how important it is a nationally televised game and it ain't Sunday Night Football. Rob, you know how sometimes in those little coverage maps, like 85% of the country will get a game, but it's always going to be, you got Cardinals and San Francisco playing each other. Nope. Every single person that has a television, they will have access to Chiefs and Bills. I think it's going to be the highest rated non-Thanksgiving game this season in the National Football League. Thanksgiving, just a different beast. People are home. You guys understand the significance of the NFL on Thanksgiving. I think it's going to be the highest rated game of the year. You got Mahomes, you got Allen, you have the history between those two teams. You got Nance and Romo, the availability for everybody. I think it's going to be the most watched game of the year. I cannot wait for it. You have the two best teams in the AFC, probably two of the three best teams in the entire league playing each other this weekend on CBS. So I want to play for you guys some of the national conversation around the Chiefs after their win against the Denver Broncos. Of course, if I had to tell you that Stephen A. Smith talked about this game, do you think he was positive on the Chiefs or do you think he was hating on the Chiefs? You guys will probably guess.
We understand that the Kansas City Chiefs could win the Super Bowl. That's not what we're seeing. We're talking about them not looking as formidable as we're accustomed to seeing them look, and as a result, who legitimately has a shot. Since week 9 of 2022, the Detroit Lions are 28-8. It's the second best record in football. Number 1 is the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 29-7 over that same period of time. Okay. The Kansas City Chiefs have won 15 straight games. Okay. 12 have been by one score. 12! So I'm looking at a team that's winning by one score, but I'm looking at a team in the NFC who looks so formidable that they could possibly take you. Let's go to watch yesterday's game, the victory against the Denver Broncos. Patrick Mahomes was pressured on 41% of his dropbacks, okay?
Denver's defensive line is awesome.
Fine. During that situation, he completed 36% of his passes compared to 82 in a clean pocket. Here's what I'm saying to you. When we saw the Kansas City Chiefs lose the Super Bowl, we thought they would win against Tampa Bay. What happened? Patrick Mahomes was running for his damn life because he wasn't being protected. So what I'm saying to you is this. If you look at a team and they're applying pressure and Patrick Mahomes looks, I'm not saying rattled or anything like that, he's the greatest. What I'm saying to you is that if he isn't as efficient as we're accustomed to seeing him be, and it has something to do with pressure.
I feel like that's kind of been how you stop Patrick Mahomes now for a couple of years. I mean, if you're going to get after the Chiefs, you get after it with your front four, you drop 7 in coverage, and you hope and pray for the best. So I don't really think that we learned anything there from Stephen A. Smith. It has been pretty interesting, I think, over the course of the last month to kind of see who people think is the best between the Lions and the Chiefs. I don't really think it matters. It's the regular season. The Lions have certainly looked really good, and I give the Lions a lot of credit for having this Chiefs-like tendency, which is just what the tendency is of being a really good team. It's really hard to throw 5 interceptions and then win on the road the way that the Lions did on Sunday Night Football. Like, nearly impossible to do that the way that they just did. So the same way that we say the Chiefs figure out a way to win now, they've been doing it for 5-6 years. The Lions have been doing it for 18 months. But let's give the Lions a lot of credit. I would still have the Chiefs number 1 in my power ranking. I don't care what Detroit has done. I don't care what any of these other teams have done. I wouldn't even care if the Chiefs lost on Sunday. They have still proven to me they are the best team in the league until proven otherwise. Last person I want to play for you guys is Nick Wright. You guys know he was elated after the Chiefs won on Sunday.
Of when one of their guys doesn't have it or makes a mistake, someone else comes through, and that is what a team is. So throughout this year, there have been games the Chiefs have just been in control of from start to finish. The Saints game was one of them. There have been a few others. The Raiders game was one of them. There have been a number of games where Mahomes and the offense struggles early, and then Mahomes and the offense saves the day late. The Niners game, the Bengals game would be those examples. There have, however, been 2 games now where Mahomes and the offense, or most notably Mahomes, does not come through and the game is in jeopardy. The Atlanta game was the first one. Up 5 with the ball, 2 first downs, the game's over. Mahomes goes 3 and out, misses a pass, and what happens? 3rd and 1, Chris Jones stop. 4th and 1, it might have been Leo Chenal or Drew Tranquil stop. Defense wins them the game. Yesterday, Mahomes, I thought, played really well despite being under constant duress, but misses the pass to Travis that I think would have won the game, certainly would have made it to where a field goal can't beat you. And what happens? The special teams. That wasn't a missed kick. That was a blocked kick.
They ran right through that line.
Correct. And I feel differently, Brew, about this than I would if it was a missed kick. Sure. A missed kick is luck. This is you made a play. This is the Chiefs made a play, And that is the sign of a special team, which is banner number 1 today, gentlemen. They are just a special team.
I would 100% agree with Nick there. I would like to answer this text really quickly. 913-586-7965. CDOT, this isn't college. Who cares if the Chiefs are winning by 1 score? A win is a win in the NFL. Now, this is a college comparison, but I think many people will get this. I think a lot of national people think the Chiefs are the Miami Hurricanes. Rob, you watch college football. Miami's kind of skated away over the course of the season. Eventually, the other shoe dropped. And you know what happened? You could only do that for so long. I'm not telling you that's what I think the Chiefs are. That's what I think a lot of other people feel like the Chiefs are. Usually, when a team is undefeated the way that they are, it just looks different than what Kansas City is. A lot of you think the Chiefs can go undefeated. Go back and look at what that New England Patriots team did in 2007, and they were dominant. I mean, clearly better than everybody else in the league. That's the best team that we've ever seen, and I don't care what happened in the Super Bowl. That is the best NFL team that we have ever seen. The Chiefs just don't look that way. So I think a lot of people are kind of coming to the point of, well, all of these 50-50 games the Chiefs keep winning, eventually their luck is going to run out. Where I would push back on anybody that says that is, man, you've been saying that for 5 years against the Chiefs. We've been saying all of the things that you're not supposed to do to win games. The Chiefs win games that way. You're supposed to win the turnover differential. The Chiefs are minus once again in turnover differential. They were minus 11 last year and won the Super Bowl. You're not supposed to get down double digits. No other team routinely comes back down double digits other than the Kansas City Chiefs. So maybe their luck runs out. Yeah, in 2029, like when are we talking about their luck runs out? Because the current streak that they're on, this just didn't start all of a sudden like they're the Lions. They've been doing this now for 7 years, and they have not changed that much over the course of those 7 years. And the 5 o'clock hour, we will be commercial free for the entire hour. You will hear from the quarterback of the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, coming up in about 10 minutes. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic sponsored by Park & Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Multi-car crash still closing that right lane of northbound 291 just past 39th Street. Also still looking at a lot of brake lights over the Bond Bridge in both directions outside of downtown. It's heavy into downtown via northbound 35 as well. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7, fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
It is one of my favorite times of the year. The NBA is back, baby, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app, wants you to catch all the action because right now, FanDuel is giving all users, yes, every single user, 3 months free of NBA League Pass. All you need to do to catch every tip-off and every buzzer beater is place a $5 bet on the NBA. You can place this on LeBron having the most assists, Victor Wembanyama to win MVP, or who you think is going to win the NBA Cup. If you're new to FanDuel, all you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code to get 3 months free of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds, terms and restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Hey friends, it's noisy out there with information coming at us all day, every day. It's hard to know what to trust, and the world of wealth management is no exception. That's why UMB Private Wealth Management helps you tune out the noise and tune into what matters most. They'll create a financial plan based on your unique goals, so it's your voice that comes through loud and clear. Get financial clarity. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule an appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like a $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even a $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? 'Cause I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
You okay?
Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Well, I'm a orthopedic surgeon, board certified.
Meet Dr. John Herzog, who's certainly done his share of knee and hip replacements. But these days, he's encouraging his patients to look at regenerative medicine options, now available at QC Kinetics.
I'm kind of the anti-surgeon right now, and a lot of my buddies, if they hear me talking, they're going to give me a call.
Dr. Herzog says advances in regenerative medicine can give your achy joints lasting relief using highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
We take the fluid out of you, we concentrate it, and put it in an area where they couldn't normally get to and facilitate healing.
Are you suffering from constant pain due to arthritis or injury? Maybe it's time to look at alternatives to drugs and surgery at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in these exciting treatments.
What could be more natural than using your own body to heal yourself?
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
There are several reasons folks buy replacement windows for their homes. To improve the looks, make their home more comfortable, or the granddaddy of them all, to save money on their energy bills. And what if you could get triple glass windows for the double glass price? You'd say, Bob, I think the butter has slid off your noodles. But I have 3 words for you. Thermal King Windows. Their triple glass windows are more than 30% more efficient than their next competitor's windows. These American-made beauties are built like a Sherman tank, but with the looks and style of a luxury automobile. And you can take that to the bank. Of course, they'll probably look at you funny and ask you to move aside, at which point you just smile and say, Thermal King Windows. Call today for your free, no-obligation estimate and window consultation. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermalkingwindows.com.
Thermal King Windows.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ, FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here. Rob Brenton is here as well. We are getting you ready for Chiefs and Bills. There will not be a commercial break during this 5 o'clock hour. Yes, we are taking you all the way up until 6 o'clock. The only break we will take is to play Patrick Mahomes conversation. That is coming up in just a little bit. This is where I would like to start our 5 o'clock hour. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we are going to have plenty of future days in which we can talk about the future of the stadium for the Kansas City Royals. So let me start by playing the new report from Bob Fescoe of Fescoe in the Morning. Here is his latest report on what he is hearing regarding the future of the Kansas City Royals and where they're going to play.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now, and I think from what the conversations I was having with a lot of people yesterday, this thing is going to move fast and it's going to move quickly, and we're going to know maybe by the winter meetings where the Royals are breaking ground on their new stadium. And I talked to multiple sources on this now, so I have it confirmed from 2 different folks about what's going on right now in Kansas City, if you will, and I use the air quotes Kansas City on this one because from what I've been told, the Royals are in real and advanced discussions with the state of Kansas to potentially build their new stadium in Johnson County.
Now, where would that location be?
Well, there are a couple locations that I'm hearing right now. There's a location right inside the 435 loop around Antioch is what I've been told is one location. And then the location that I think a lot of people are very fond of is 119th and Knoll on the old Sprint campus. And there, they already have 5 parking garages that exist.
All right. Coming up in a bit, I want to play for you guys what the mayor of Kansas City said. Now, I want to be very clear in this 5 o'clock hour. I like Bob Fescoe on a personal level. I like Bob Fescoe on a professional level. So nothing I am going to say here for the next 4 to 5 minutes is an indictment on how I feel about Bob Fescoe. I am just taking the information and forming my opinion on it. I do not believe that the Royals are moving to Kansas. I think a lot of the problems that the Royals are trying to tell you that they have with where the current stadium is, those problems still exist if they move to 119th and all. This sounds to me like the Royals have reached maybe an impasse on what's going to happen with their downtown stadium, an impasse that it seems like they've had now for almost 2 years. And now we're going to float out some information of, well, you guys aren't playing ball the way that we think you should be playing ball, so we're going to go to Kansas. Isn't this the exact same playbook that we saw a couple of months ago when they floated out the Clay County idea? Remember they tore down the bowling alley and they had all those renderings and, oh, you got to be worried about the Royals moving north of the river. And then we saw eventually they reached a plan, and the plan was to build it in downtown Kansas City. I don't think the Royals have been very clear about a lot over the course of the last 2 years, and that's part of the confusion. And trust me, we'll get to that here momentarily. But I do think that the Royals have been very, very clear on where they want the stadium to be. The Royals have been very clear. I don't think the Chiefs have been clear at all. I think the Chiefs have played this thing very close to the vest, and the Chiefs are going to take whatever they think is the best deal. I think the Royals and their new ownership group have said at almost every single turn that we want to be in downtown Kansas City. Now, I think this is a very important question, and we'll talk more about the 119th and Knoll location, and we'll play Patrick Mahomes here coming up in a bit. Do the Royals want a new stadium or a downtown stadium? Because those are two very different concepts. The same way that we say, are you looking for Miss Right or Miss Right Now? Those are two different concepts. Sure, they might have a little bit of overlap, but we all know the difference. Do the Royals want a new stadium? And they don't care where in the city it is? It could be in Blue Springs, it could be in Independence, it could be in Overland Park, it could be out by K-10, wherever they think a new stadium could go. Or do they want a downtown stadium? Because those two things are drastically different. They tell me, or at least we've heard, well, we think this would help attendance. It's going to be a centrally located place. It's not too far off for the people in Kansas, right there in Missouri. It's downtown. There's an entertainment center. There's all of these things. Wouldn't you have very similar problems if you move out to 119th and all? Because there's going to be the person that goes that currently lives in Lee Summit or currently lives in Blue Springs that isn't driving out there on a weekday to go to your game on a Tuesday against the Washington Nationals. So it feels like you have just turned 4+2 into 5+3 by moving out there. I'm not saying that's not a great location. Obviously, a lot of people live out there, nice area, makes a lot of sense if you want to move out to the suburbs. But the Royals have never communicated that's what they want to do. One of the frustrating things for me as somebody that lives in Jackson County and lives in Missouri is at some point I want the Royals to really sell us on this vision. I don't think they've sold us on a vision. I think they have sold us on a concept. Those are two different things. A concept is just an idea. Everybody has ideas. Everybody has concepts. What are you doing to push this plan forward? And think about everything that has happened over 2024. They have floated out at least 5 different ideas in the state of Missouri. They floated out North Kansas City. They floated out the Star Building. They floated out the old Star Building. They floated out Washington Square Park. They floated out the Crossroads. They have floated out so many different ideas, and I think it is really hard for the average Kansas Citian to kind of wrap your arms around it. I don't know what they want to do. They've never really communicated to us, the public, other than we want to be downtown. Well, where downtown? Because the idea that all of us originally had, you guys keep telling us that that's not a viable idea. But we've never seen a hardcore rendering or a plan or really any momentum that we can really wrap our arms around as a city and as a community of what the Royals want to do. And it seems to me very different than what's happening with the Chiefs is there's a lot of hands that seem to be in the pot, whether it's Jackson County, Kansas City, Missouri, the Royals. There's just a lot of people that are happy to talk on and off the record about this and float out different concepts and ideas. And at some point, the Royals, as an entity that is asking for a whole lot of money from a whole lot of people, at some point, you got to bring something concrete. You got to bring something that people can touch and feel and believe in. And I don't think they've really done that at any point in 2024. Maybe you don't believe me, but I can just show you the voting numbers and the fact that they got killed around Jackson County. They got killed in downtown, the Crossroads, Waldo, Blue Springs. There was no part of the city that loved their first plan. The next time you bring something to the people of this community, it's got to be real. It's got to be concrete. And I think all of us are just tired of these hypotheticals that continue to be thrown around about where the Royals are potentially going to play their games. Let me play for you what the mayor of Kansas City said. He was on our show last week. Here's what he said about the future of the Royals.
My view is a very simple one, that the Royals will be playing downtown 10 years from now. I have not wavered, because here's the thing that is interesting, right? We've gone through every drama known to man. There was a conversation last January, will Jackson County put it on the ballot? There was the April vote, no. Everybody was, saying all of these horribles are occurring. There was then the Star Bonds vote. Oh, my God, they're leaving tomorrow. Nothing happens. Nothing keeps happening. What we do need to do are a few things. Kansas City government has continued to talk to the Royals. I think I've met with them now. We did the math the other day about 21 times. We're going to continue to have active and robust discussions. I talked to the governor-elect of Missouri today. We're from different political parties, but we have a shared view on the importance of keeping these teams in Kansas City. I think you're going to see a very active effort from him. He is already connected to the current gubernatorial administration, but I think you have a governor-elect going in with this as a priority. It is City Hall's priority. The chat about baseball a lot lately has been how can the city help handle that, with perhaps a state and county conversation as to the Chiefs. And I think you're going to continue to see more progress in us getting all of this done. I think the Royals want to see that done. Certainly local government does. I think the governor-elect does. Members of the Missouri legislature, I've met with them too, all Republicans. I'm doing my reach across the aisle. This is too big a deal for the state of Missouri and the city of Kansas City.
I am willing to admit my bias on certain things. I've lived in Kansas City, Missouri every single day of my life, aside from the part when I was in college. I love Jackson County. I love Kansas City. Don't really have much of a desire to live anywhere else. I believe that the Royals also want to be in Jackson County. I also believe that they want to be in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. I think what we are seeing is the biggest problem right now is the people that run the government in Jackson County and the people that run the government in Kansas City, Missouri do not appear to be anywhere close on the same page. I think that lack of togetherness is a major reason why this vote failed the first time. And I think you are going to get a second shot. You might not get a second shot with the Chiefs. I think you are going to get a second shot with the Royals. But just whenever the Royals present this thing, and I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, nothing the Royals have done over the course of this year makes me think that we are getting something concrete over the course of the next couple of days. Now, maybe this is just my job, but I imagine this is a lot of your jobs too. Are you more productive or less productive in the workplace around the holidays? Now, sure, there's some jobs where your busy season is about to happen over the course of the next 6 weeks. A lot of us start to realize things are kind of slow around here. So we think in the middle of Christmas and all of this stuff going on that the Royals are going to present some plan of which we want more of your money close to Christmas time. That sounds like a really bad plan to me if I'm advising the Kansas City Royals. So what I would tell the Royals to do is take another 90 days. I would try to have something after the Super Bowl. Maybe the Chiefs are in it. Maybe they've won it. People are feeling good. Spring training is right around the corner. There's going to be a certain level of buzz and optimism about the Royals that hasn't happened leading into a season in a decade. And I would make sure that I have all my ducks in a row coming up in the next 90 days. You have certainly had enough time. That will almost be a year since people have voted on it. You guys keep telling us why we need a new stadium and why it needs to be downtown and how beneficial it's going to be for everybody. Come with some concrete numbers, data, and a plan, and not just sell us on a concept. Sell us on the vision. What do you see downtown baseball bringing to the people of Kansas City? Where is it going to be? Where's the parking? You guys got to answer questions. And I don't think the Royals have really done a good job over the course of 2024 in answering a lot of our questions while simultaneously asking us for money. It seems like something that just happened last week in our country, and we saw how that ended up for one side. Hit the button, Rob.
Your workday is over.
Oh, yeah.
You're headed home, and now you're stuck in traffic. Time to get caught up on the biggest stories in Kansas City and around the country with CDOT and Rob. It's time for the hits. Number one.
Number one is going to be very simple. It's our conversation with Patrick Mahomes. We talk to the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs every single week. We are not taking a commercial break here in the 5 o'clock hour. We are taking you all the way up until 6 o'clock. Earlier today, I got a chance to catch up with the quarterback of the Chiefs, and my first question is what I think everybody is asking. Yo, how do you guys do this every single week?
Man, it's just we just go out there and play football. I mean, obviously, it's been close games a lot this season, but that just speaks to the culture that we have here and the teammates that I have around me. I mean, it takes everybody, and I think that was the biggest thing you saw from this week is that we're going to fight to the very end.
It was kind of hard to avoid it, but I'm sure you saw a lot of the Broncos fan reaction. Did you get a chance to see any of that on social media this weekend?
I honestly haven't seen much of it. I'm sure they weren't too happy, though, so I'm going to have to go check that out after this.
Yeah, I was just laughing about it because, you know, there's some Chiefs fans that just, like, hate John Elway and hate Peyton Manning for always beating their team, and I was thinking this weekend, like, there is a Broncos fan, like a kid right now, 11, 12 years old, and, like, you were their least favorite player because you always beat their team.
Yeah, I mean, I had certain guys like that growing up, too. You always want your team to win, and I try to go out there and have fun and do it the right way, but obviously it's going to upset some people when you beat their team a good amount.
Patrick, take us inside the locker room because I'm guessing that was as spirited, as hype of just a complete total team effort that you've been a part of.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the biggest thing for me is I've never been a part of something like that. I mean, I've been a part of some walk-off wins and some big defensive stops and stuff like that, big field goals, but to have a field goal block, I mean, obviously – we trust those guys, and they go through their week and find ways to find weaknesses within the special teams. But that's just such a hard play to do. And so for a guy to make a big play in that moment, to win the football game as a kind of a walk-off, it was something that I'll have for the rest of my career.
I was just going to ask you, where does that rank in terms of regular season wins? You guys have certainly had some great postseason wins. Maybe that win you guys had early in your career against the Ravens with the big pass play on 4th down. I'm just trying to think of what's an exciting regular season win that you think would even rival what happened on Sunday.
Yeah, there's not a lot. I mean, like you said, that Ravens one, just because it was so early in my career. Maybe the Chargers one when Travis has the catch and breaks all the tackles in overtime and scores a touchdown. That one's up there. But definitely one of the bigger regular season wins as far as momentum swings and emotion swings and stuff like that. And so it was definitely a really cool moment, man. I mean, just to be a part of, and I think you saw by the celebration by everybody.
What is it about the Broncos? Is it just the fact that they are a division rival? It feels like you've just played them really tough for something happens. You know, you had a significant injury against the Broncos. Your first start was against Denver. Monday Night Football with the left-handed throw. You've just had so many of these moments in your career, and they normally seem to happen against Denver for whatever reason. Yeah,
I mean, it's a really good franchise and a really good football team. I mean, they play hard the entire game. They're well coached. They got great players, and we always know it's going to be a challenge, especially in division and especially against the Broncos because, you know, they want to beat us as much as we want to beat them. And so it's definitely always a challenge, and there's been some big moments in my career, but I'm glad that we were able to find a way to get a win in this one.
Right now we're talking to the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick, we are coming up on a month since the D-Hop trade. What have you learned most working with him over the course of the last few weeks?
Yeah, I think just the intelligence. I mean, he really is a football savant, man. He watches the little things. He really focuses on his craft, and that's what you want. I mean, not only on the football field, but in that room with all those receivers. He's a veteran guy who's done it at a high level for a long time, and I think he's just going to keep getting more and more involved in the offense, and that's going to keep getting other guys open. We left some stuff out there, not just me and him, but just in general as the offense. This last week, and we got to be better at executing there, and they'll take our best this week against the Bills.
And you describing him, I hear a lot of the similarities in how you kind of approach football and how you see it. What's been the process like to kind of get him up to speed? Are you and him watching extra film? Are you guys working together? What is the process to get him acclimated to this offense since he joined midseason?
Yeah, it's just a little bit of all of it. I mean, he's been in the building, I mean, just as much as I have, just learning the offense, learning how we do things, learning how we coach things. And then learning how I see the game as well, and I try to do the same for him. And Whenever you get a guy mid-season like this, it's about getting him up to speed as fast as possible, and I think we've done a good job of that so far. But he'll continue to learn more and more each and every week, and I think that's a big thing for us as an offense going forward.
You mentioned a couple of missed throws from the last game. What's the throw when you went back and watched film? You're kind of like, that's one I should have made.
Yeah, I think the one to Trav was probably the biggest one, just because of the moment of the game, and then he was open, so just getting the throw down a little bit and letting them get a chance to go up and catch it in the back of the end zone. It just puts our defense in a better spot where they're not having to guard against a field goal and a touchdown, where they know what the Broncos need to get to, and they can coach that way. And so that was big. I mean, obviously the one to Worthy. I mean, you want to hit those deep ones. We've missed a couple of those these last few weeks, but kind of that was more of an off script, kind of was going one way and kind of saw him beat his guy and try to make the throw, but still throws I believe I can make.
I was going to ask you about the Worthy play. You guys have missed that the last couple of weeks. Is that related to his speed? Is that timing-wise? You guys have been unable to connect these last couple of weeks in those big home run swings, and that's the kind of player that he is. What needs to change? Maybe it's in your fundamentals. What needs to change to connect on those passes in the future?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I was going to make the throw. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, he's getting open, he's getting separation, and that's what we got him here for. And if I make the throws, he should have probably 3 or 4 more touchdowns. So it's about me just being better and making the throw.
What is that process like? Is it film? Because I remember earlier in the year when you and I talked, you kind of talked about your base and your fundamentals. Is it kind of getting back to some of those things, or is it something else?
I think it's just playing ball. I mean, like in that one, it's a difference whenever it's kind of within the structure of the play, and I see him, and I try to make the throw and make the touchdown throw, which has happened this year, but that's having good and bad. But whenever the play pops, and he might not be necessarily the main read, and kind of like this one this last weekend, and I see him, I got to be able to set my feet up and make the throw, and keep it in bounds and give him a chance. And I thought he did a great job stacking on the red line and giving me room to make the throw, and I threw it out of bounds.
Right now, we're talking to the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, here for a couple of minutes. Patrick, one thing I've learned from talking to you over the years, you always say, it's the NFL. You don't need any extra motivation. This feels like the game that embodies that more than anything. You got the 2 best teams in the AFC. You went there last year in the postseason. You guys always play these tightly contested games. You know what you're heading into on Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I don't think there's any extra motivation. I think you just know it's going to take your best in order to win this football game. You're playing against one of the best teams in the NFL, the team that you've played a lot of times and know every single time it seems like it comes down to the wire, and we're going to be in a hostile environment. So we understand that it's going to take our best football in order to get the win, and that should be enough motivation in itself.
You mentioned it last year, sort of embracing the villain. Where would you rank Buffalo in terms of just hostile environments? That image of you running off the field and fans are loud, they're throwing things, and you're running off celebrating a win. Where would you kind of rank Buffalo in some of the toughest environments that you've played in?
Yeah, I mean, pretty simple. I mean, they don't like me a lot, and they don't like the Chiefs a lot, so I'm sure it'll be pretty hostile out there.
What is it like to be, I guess, perceived as the underdog in this one? You guys are the favorites. You guys are the 2-time defending champion, but there's going to be a lot of people that pick against you this week. What's it like to be perceived as the underdog heading into this game?
Yeah, I mean, you don't pay attention to most of those things, especially during the regular season. I mean, it's week to week in this league, and it just kind of depends on if you played good the week before or not. And we feel like we didn't play our best football the week before, but at the same time, we have to find a way to play our best football this week if we want to get a win.
You guys always talk about your goals, taking care of the division, making sure that you have the 1 seed. I don't have to tell you how important this game is in locking up that 1 seed conversation, and it goes a long way beating a team that is directly behind you in the standings. How important is it to you? How important is it to this team to make sure that the AFC Championship game is played again in Arrowhead?
Yeah, it's extremely important. I mean, obviously, it wasn't last year and we were able to get it done, but just to have that advantage of being at Arrowhead, being home, being able to rest your body for that week with the bye week, I mean, there's definitely advantages to it, and it's an important game as far as seeding and stuff like that goes. But it's a long season, so we just got to keep building and keep getting better and try to take care of business this week. But at the same time, we have to just focus on today, and that's all we can do.
I've got 2 final questions, and I'll get you out of here. 2 questions I've never asked you before. You guys are going to Buffalo, home of the Buffalo Wings. When it comes to chicken wings, are you a drums guy or a flats guy?
I'm a flats guy for the most part, but I like them both. I'm not picky at all. Like whatever I get, and I'm just gonna devour them.
That's kind of where I am with chicken too. People always say this, like, bro, I just like chicken. Like you eat the drums, I'll eat the flats, whichever one. As long as the chicken's good, I don't care.
That's 100%. I'm the same way. Like, I know people are super picky on which one they're getting. I'm just whenever I get wings, I'm just grabbing what's there and I'm eating them.
All right, I'm going to give you my favorite 3 wing flavors, and I want to know what yours are. I'm going to go lemon pepper 1. I like a good Cajun rub, Louisiana rub, and I also like garlic parmesan. Whenever you're ordering wings, what are your 3 favorite wing flavors?
Yeah, first like a barbecue, honey barbecue. I always love that. I know it's kind of original, but I like that. I like the regular hot, just like regular hot wings, and then I would probably say garlic parmesan's my 3rd one. But I'm not same thing, man. I'll eat a lot of different flavors of wings. That's just kind of the 3 go-tos I go to.
If you guys had a wing competition in the locker room, every player's there, who can eat the most wings in a 10-minute setting, like Joey Chestnut style, who wins the contest?
Trey Smith, no doubt.
Hands down. You didn't even hesitate on that one.
No, right when you started answering the question, I knew who I was answering.
That is the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, joining us on the show today as they get ready for one of the biggest matchups in the regular season, Chiefs and Bills. Patrick, man, great talking to you, man. I appreciate your time as always.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Absolutely. That is the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. Rob, I would like to ask you this question, and we'll get back to very serious football things here coming up in a bit. Let's say that Binkley is ineligible for this contest because Binkley is the obvious answer in this. If we had a wing eating contest right here on 96.5 The Fan, who do you think would win this? Who do you think the favorite is going into it? If Binkley can only watch, he can just judge.
And it's speed's part of the game here,
no,
too.
Just 10 minutes. However many wings you can eat in 10 minutes. So it's a little speed. It's also longevity here, endurance.
Let me work backwards and start eliminating people. I think Gold's out. I don't think Gold stands a chance. I would probably eliminate Bob. He's too healthy to have put wings down like that. I think you might be in the top 3.
No, I'm telling you, I'm not.
You don't think you're in the top 3?
I think Cody's the favorite.
I would say it's either you, Cody, or what do we do with Speck? Speck is at the staff, but not on the air.
Dusty could possibly win this thing.
Dusty's a dark horse.
Yeah, Dusty could possibly win this thing. I'm not saying he's a favorite going into it. I think that Gold's a favorite, but I do
love
think
chicken wings, though. How are you not in the top 3? Is it the speed? Is the speed going to be the killer for you?
I just think after about 10 of them, I'm usually good. I'm not trying to eat 15, 20 of them. That seems like a lot. It seems like I'm doing a lot here. That's not really what I'm interested in.
Is there a food where you're like, oh, I would win at the station? No doubt. We're commercial free. We can talk about this for 90 seconds.
I could eat a lot of street tacos. You know I love a good street taco. Little onion, little cilantro, little salsa on top. I could put down some street tacos if that's necessary. If that's the task at hand. I feel very, very confident in my ability. Let's get back to talking about the Chiefs. And I don't know why this just hit me earlier today. I mean, I've certainly thought this before, but it really changed leading into this game. You know, a lot of you are like me. Lifelong Kansas City and been watching the Chiefs your whole life. And as somebody who is under the age of 40, the Patriots' dominance is all I know. I kind of remember the Cowboys' run. You remember the Broncos when they had their run in the late 90s. You remember Brett Favre getting to a couple of Super Bowls. But for the most part, the Patriots have been the team that has defined your NFL fandom. They have won the most Super Bowls. They have had the most success. They have been the dynasty from the time that you were in high school up until now. And it is wild to think that in just a short period of time, we went from seeing the sun set on the New England Patriots to seeing the Chiefs basically become everything that the Patriots used to be. Think about the feelings that you used to have towards New England. That is the same feelings that Buffalo fans have towards you. That is the same feeling that Cincinnati fans have towards you. Think about the dominance that we saw from the Patriots in their own division. That's not the dominance that the Chiefs currently have over the other teams in the AFC West. Think about some of the miraculous wins that we have seen the Patriots have. Is that not what the Chiefs have? And I think one step further, and what really made me think about this week is, it felt like for 15 years, every season you knew the Patriots were going to be 10-1, and whichever team Peyton Manning was on was going to be 10-1 or 9-2, and you knew how important that game was going to be. I can't remember a time when Brady and Manning went up against each other that the game didn't have incredible significance, that it didn't dictate who was going to host the AFC Championship game or who was the favorite or who was the better team. And we saw this every single year, it felt like, for basically our entire teenage years. That's what your kids are now seeing with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Every time these two teams play each other, it's incredibly meaningful. Whether it was last year and what happened with Kadarius Toney, whether it was Patrick Mahomes' first postseason game, what I think is Patrick's best win of his career was the 13 seconds that spawned the Grim Reaper quote. I mean, every time these two teams play each other, it is a moment. It is an event. It's why we love the NFL so much. I think we kind of oversell the fact that every game matters in the league. No, we watch enough football to know every game doesn't matter in the league. Every week doesn't matter the same. But then you get these kind of matchups that this can help determine who is going to the Super Bowl. Now, the Chiefs have certainly shown their ability to go on the road and win these games, but you'll always take the home AFC Championship game. You'll always take the bye week and extra time to prepare. And the Chiefs, albeit they didn't have the bye last year, the Chiefs being able to take off the final week of the regular season was a big boost to them down the stretch. It is impossible to undersell how important this game is. Buffalo has 2 losses right now. If the Chiefs win, Buffalo will have 3 losses, and they will have lost the tiebreaker. That puts you 4 games. You have to play 4 games better than Kansas City down the final 6-7 weeks of the season. That is not happening in Buffalo. They eliminate themselves in the conversation with the loss. If Kansas City loses this game, they go from having a pretty comfortable advantage, I would say right now, in the AFC playoff picture to, hey, the end of the season's going to be kind of dicey a little bit. You got to win these games. You can't coast in the second half of the season, especially because you've already lost the tiebreaker to the team that is your biggest opposition. It does not get any bigger of a regular season game than what the Chiefs have coming up. Usually in the regular season, you can kind of overcome it, right? There's enough time to be able to overcome it. There is not enough time for the Buffalo Bills to be able to overcome losing to Kansas City on Sunday. There simply is not. You are done in that conversation. You can still be the 2 seed. Sure, of course. You cannot be the 1 seed. And for Kansas City to have a ability to, I think, bury the teams that people think are their 2 biggest competitors heading towards the Super Bowl in the AFC, and you can do that before you go buy your turkey, is an incredible advantage. Baltimore cannot be the 1 seed, and you are 60 minutes away from making it possible where Buffalo could not be the 1 seed in the AFC playoffs. So again, I cannot undersell it. Sometimes we in the media love to sell hyperbole and tell you how important individual NFL games are. You usually can lose 5-6 times in the NFL, and it doesn't really matter or really change our standings on whether we think you can win the Super Bowl or not. You cannot have a more important regular season game than the Chiefs are about to play on Sunday against the Bills.
I would argue that Sunday is very important for both teams, don't get me wrong. But for everything you just laid out, I think Buffalo is more on the line for Buffalo by a large margin than the Chiefs. And maybe that's because I don't believe in the Steelers. That's part of the story here, because I think even if the Chiefs lose on Sunday, which is a very real possibility, I don't know they're going to lose the Christmas Day game to the Steelers. I don't know they have another 2-3 losses banked. So the Chiefs are probably looking at 14-3, 13-4. If they lose, that's a real race. But if Buffalo loses, the race is over. It's done. And I know the Steelers are still mathematically there, but I don't believe in that football team at all. I don't believe in them. Let me rephrase that. I don't believe in them on the level I believe in the Ravens, Bills, or Chiefs. I believe they're a tier down. I believe they're a little bit schedule driven. Yeah, so a Chiefs win ices it.
I'm there too, and to add on what you're saying, sorry to cut you off there at the end. I don't see a scenario in which Pittsburgh goes 14-3. Could Pittsburgh finish the regular season with 12 wins? They have 9 right now. You think they're playing with a losing record the rest of the way? I just don't see a scenario in which Pittsburgh goes 13-4 or 14-3 this year. So I'm with you. Pittsburgh is only 2 games back. You also play them later in the year. So a very similar conversation that we're having about Buffalo, we also are going to be able to have about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, you can eliminate them too as well from the conversation. But I think most people look at Buffalo and Baltimore as being the two biggest contenders to the Kansas City Chiefs. And you are just so far ahead of the Ravens now at this point, and you can give yourself that same distance between you and the Buffalo Bills. Let me play this for you. So earlier today, this is what Nate Taylor had to say about the left tackle situation with the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll talk more about it here coming up after the cut, but we have seen enough throughout this season. We've seen enough to know that right now, Kingsley Suamataia is not a starting left tackle in the National Football League. That's not to say that he can't become a starting left tackle in the National Football League. I'm talking about right now. We are week 11, week 12. I don't know. We've seen a lot of football. Thanksgiving's right around the corner. The Chiefs benched Kingsley in his second game, never gave him his job back, and then we saw after 2 months of sitting on the bench, we saw him get another opportunity as a starting left tackle in the league, and it did not go well. So we have seen enough to deduce he is not ready to be a starting left tackle. Maybe in 2025, he will be ready. Maybe in 2026, he will be ready. He is not ready today. So armed with that information, I would be calling Donovan Smith if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs. Here's what Nate Taylor had to say about it.
Guys, he's ready. He's done the wise thing for him because he dealt with the neck, the stinger, the shoulder. That's the reason why Wanye played the last 5 or 6 games of the regular season last year was because, hey man, you're getting old, and whether you're Jerick McKinnon or Donovan Smith, you're like, hey man, call me when the games get real, which is essentially right now, kids. It's November. Guess what? We're back to real football, games that have stakes, where it's cold outside, when there's when you need smart, competent players to limit your mistakes, right? To limit your exposure to your weaknesses versus trying to attack the other team's weaknesses. That's really what this comes down to.
We talked about this earlier. Sometimes you got to look at what your liabilities are. I don't think the Chiefs have a lot of liabilities. You could maybe argue wide receiver, but we think they're getting Hollywood Brown back at some point this season, and that's going to limit it in some ways. I don't think cornerback is a liability for this team. I think they're fine. Najee Johnson's coming back. You got one of the best corners in the league in Trent McDuffie. You develop one other corner. I think you're fine. It would appear that we know what their biggest liability is. It's at left tackle. If something happens to Wanye Morris, do you trust Kingsley to get you through a playoff push? I don't have a whole lot of confidence in that scenario. Now, I don't think there's any reason to fret about that, but you have a guy who knows your system, knows your scheme, fits into the locker room, is getting healthy and recovering, that you can call off the bench as a sub. And you don't need him to hold up for 17 weeks. You don't need that. But at some point, what I would like for the Chiefs to do is to prepare in case of an emergency. They had a potential emergency in Sunday's game. They had a potential emergency. They lost their starting left tackle, and there was a clear weakness on the left side of their offensive line. So go call Donovan Smith. Maybe he is not the perfect solution to a problem, but at this point, he could maybe be your best solution to a problem. I want to be clear. I'm not saying that Kingsley is a bust. I'm not saying he can never be the Chiefs starting left tackle. I'm saying is we are almost at Thanksgiving time, and do you feel comfortable in 3 playoff games for this team to do something that no other team has had happen? Do you feel confident enough in Kingsley Suamataia to help get you there? And I'm telling you that I've seen enough to know he ain't ready yet to do that. Let me play for you guys what Matt Verierman had to say. He and I are on the same page.
I do not believe they will play Suamataia again unless it is an absolute emergent, no other option situation. Look, that game, I mean, let's put it this way. I think the Chiefs saw what we all saw. There were 4 or 5 snaps. He did not touch the guy he was supposed to be blocking. And Nick Bonino, Chiefs fans owe him somewhat of a debt of gratitude. There were a couple times that he really wanted to just clean Mahomes' clock. He could have done it. He didn't do it. He hit him. He knocked him down, but he didn't bury his helmet in his back or something like that. I do not think, from conversations I've had, that we're going to be seeing Suamataia again, unless it is just they're down 4 offensive linemen and they have to put him in there. I think Right now, the game's too fast for him, and they know that.
It used to be, I understand it's different for every team. You kind of expected your year one guys to be able to step in day one, or your first round pick, a better way of saying it, your first round pick guys to be able to help instantly. Your second, third round picks, you'd like for them to be able to help, but not everybody develops at the same speed. And your day three guys were more for depth. They were lottery tickets, it felt like, in a way. And if you got something from them, great. Now I think that this team's success and how strong of a roster they are has kind of changed it a little bit. You don't need as much contribution from young players on this team that some other teams need. Some other teams are heavily reliant on rookies to get to where they want to go. Not really where the Chiefs are. You'd like for Xavier Worthy to be a little bit better, but trust me, they'll be fine without Xavier Worthy developing this season. They did perfectly fine with getting minimal contribution last year from their first-round draft pick. They are okay in the short term with, quote, missing on those picks. This is not a long-term indictment on Kingsley. I don't think that Kingsley has just been given enough time. But you also can't tell me I'm not seeing what I saw. You can't tell me that. You guys told me all offseason he was your guy. You told me all training camp he was your guy. You then saw him in a game, and less than 6 quarters into the season, you benched him. Not because of injury, because of productivity. He then got another opportunity. It was clear he is not ready for it. So I don't know if you still got Donovan Smith's number. I'm sure he's on Twitter. Send him a message. Hey, how's it going? You doing okay? Have you been working out? Would you be interested in maybe coming back? Maybe not right now. We still got a little bit of time. Why don't you spend Thanksgiving with your family? Why don't you do that? And after Thanksgiving and the first of the year, why don't you come back? You know, after this game against the Bills, I believe they have Carolina and Las Vegas left this month. Carolina and Las Vegas. Maybe we don't need you for that stretch. But we got a stretch at the end of the year where they go on the road and they play Cleveland, and then they play Pittsburgh, and then they play Houston. That's a pretty important stretch in the season. You played 3 games in 10 days. Maybe we could use an extra body in case of an injury to happen. So I would like to suggest right now the Chiefs picking up the phone and just giving Donovan Smith some time to kind of get working out, get ready, and potentially help this team in the final 4 or 5 games of the season.
Carrington, I don't disagree with you, but I think your idea is a little flawed with Donovan Smith because I've been here. I do the show every day with you, except for when KU plays North Carolina. That's obviously more important.
No, that's true. That's fair.
When those two match up, I don't do the show. But generally speaking, I do the show with you. And when the Chiefs were wide receiver poor before the DeAndre Hopkins trade, a popular name on the text line was Hunter Renfrow. Not the Royals outfielder, the kid from Clemson. Hunter Renfrow this, Hunter Renfrow that, Hunter Renfrow, Hunter Renfrow, Hunter Renfrow. And you said a very simple but succinct message. A guy who is a free agent at an important position in the NFL usually isn't just available come Halloween. Donovan Smith plays left tackle. Jason Peters is 47 years old. He's playing left tackle in the league. Someone picked him up. Donovan Smith plays left tackle and did so last year for a Super Bowl team and has a previous Super Bowl with Tom Brady. Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes vouched for Donovan Smith. Why is he on the couch on November 12th? Why has no one brought Donovan Smith in? I understand the idea that maybe early in the season, the Chiefs are like, hey, we might give you a call early because, you know, Wanye's fighting an injury coming into camp and Kingsley might not be ready. But it ain't early anymore. It's nearing late into the season. He watches football the way me and you watch football. Do you find it perhaps that the people who know more than us and that there is more injury concern with a guy who last year struggled with injury and right now is watching the game on TV the same way Joe and Olathe is?
I don't disagree with your premise, but what I would say in a very similar way to Terrell Suggs a couple of years ago, at this point, it doesn't cost you anything to find out if you're the Chiefs. It doesn't cost you anything. Let's say that you are 100% right and you bring him in. We agree an injury is going to happen between sometime now and then, and you will have a roster spot that is available. Are you going to elevate somebody or potentially bring somebody in? Now, we don't have to have this conversation in full now, but at some point, if you want to bring Donovan Smith in, there is a deadline for you to be on a roster. You can't just show up right before the playoff game like, hey, I'm ready to help. You have to be on a team by a certain time. If Wanye can't go, you are going to need some level of protection. I think that Donovan Smith could potentially be a good level of production for you. I want to play this for you guys before we have to sign off today. We are going commercial free here in the 5 o'clock hour. So Marquez Valdes-Scantling did an interview. He got called by Kay Adams and FanDuel because he probably won some people some money. You know, you play daily fantasy and you pick MVS up because I'm sure he was like $3,000. And MVS probably helped you a little bit. So they put an interview request in and they got MVS, who had 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. MVS had the day that you guys were trying to convince me yesterday that Cortland Sutton had. You guys were talking about Cortland Sutton like he was that dog. He didn't do what MVS did. So MVS went on with Kay Adams, and kind of like Taylor Rooks in the NBA, people go on that Kay Adams show and just start lying, man. I don't know what it is. Listen to MVS.
I mean, with that guy, you always got a shot. I think he's the best to ever play this game at the quarterback position. So if you got, that guy on your team, you always got a shot to win. He's one of my favorite teammates that I've ever had, one of my closest friends that I've ever made in the NFL, him and Devontae. So just with those 2 guys alone, you always got a shot, and they'll figure it out. They'll turn it around because I know the competitive nature that those 2 guys have and how much they actually care about winning. And I think that they'll figure it out.
They're 2 games out of a playoff spot. You're saying he's the best ever.
Yeah, I think he's the best ever. And like I said, I played with some of the best to ever do it. And I think Pat is right behind him. I think Josh is equally as talented as all those guys.
All right, love that.
Did MVS just say that he thinks Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback of all time? Now, I understand that everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I get it. I really do. I understand. And not everybody has to think the exact same thing. Maybe you think that LeBron is better than Jordan. Maybe you think Jordan's better than LeBron. That's fine. I don't care. But you can have the opinion that Aaron Rodgers is better than Patrick Mahomes. That's not an opinion I can co-sign. That's not an opinion that I can let slide. Especially when you've seen Pat up close. You was at the last Super Bowl. You didn't see those 2 drives? You were at the one before then. You didn't see the run against the Eagles to get you in field goal range? Was MVS on the team that had the 13 seconds against Buffalo? He was there at that. He was playing in that game, right? I'm not crazy. Aaron Rodgers is the best to ever do it? Okay. Sounds like a little hateration, holleration to me. That's what it sounds like. And the crazy thing about this is I don't think Aaron likes you like that. You were just sitting there unemployed. We know Aaron hooks up his people. We saw Nathaniel Hackett almost ruin Russell Wilson. And he's still got a job as the offensive coordinator in the league. He's ruining the Jets right now. Everything he touches turns into crap. Everything. And you're telling me that Aaron Rodgers didn't go get you? You were unemployed. He would have went to go get Randall Cobb. He'd have went to go get Alan Lazard. He'd have went to go get James Jones or Greg Jennings. He didn't go get you when you were unemployed. No, I guess Pat didn't either. To be fair, Pat also let you go play for the Saints. Believe me, if Pat really wanted MVS back, he'd be back. Trust me. They would have been like, all right, hey, Pat, you know what? Instead of us bringing up Peyton Hendershot, we'll bring you back. No, all right, cool. We'll let you come back. All right, hey, MVS, we appreciate you. You saw they went to go get Juju. You saw they went to go get McCole. McCole was in this same situation. They went to go get him back. McCole been happy ever since. Juju, he been happy. I saw something earlier today. Let me read this to you. This was from our dear friend of the show, James Palmer, formerly of NFL Network. So he tweeted this out earlier today. Let me pull this up. When it comes to what James Palmer had to say, he said, just a hunch, he believes that Juju is close to coming back for the Kansas City Chiefs. He says that he thinks Juju is right around the corner of being able to help this team. This is what he tweeted. I found it. My assumption, Isaiah Pacheco won't play Sunday versus the Bills. That feels like a pretty safe assumption. Usually what the Chiefs do is they activate you. He'll practice this week. I actually think there's a chance they let Pacheco practice for 2 weeks. I don't really think there's much reason to let Isaiah Pacheco play next week against the Carolina Panthers. Like, you got to really give me some strong reasons on why Isaiah Pacheco needs to play against the Carolina Panthers. I'm not seeing it. That's a bottom 5 team in the league. That team is terrible. I would let Isaiah Pacheco get 2 weeks of practicing, acclimate yourself, and you have him ready to play that Black Friday game against the Las Vegas Raiders. That's what I would do if I'm the Chiefs. So I don't think he's playing this week, and I also wouldn't play him next week. But James Palmer says, but Juju Smith-Schuster does return this week from his hamstring injury. I know he put my assumption there. I don't think that James Palmer, who is a reporter, really isn't somebody that makes an assumption without having some kind of knowledge. That's something I would do. This is what I assume. I don't know. I don't think that's what James Palmer would do, which is make an assumption about availability for this game unless he kind of heard something through the grapevine or somebody important told him that's the case. And them getting Juju back for this game would be big. The Chiefs still have a wide receiver issue. Now, I get it. They win all their games, and you're telling me the regular season doesn't matter. I get all that. I hear what you're saying. They still got a little bit of a wide receiver issue, and getting back another trusted wide receiver that could help them would actually be really, really good. DeAndre Hopkins had 4 catches for 56 yards. Do you know who the next wide receiver was in Sunday's game? It was Xavier Worthy. He had 1 catch for 11 yards. Xavier Worthy didn't have a catch last week. The last 2 games, he has 1 catch for 11 yards. Xavier Worthy has not been that good over the course of the last couple of weeks. So if you were telling me that we are heading now towards the back stretch of the season, and you think that Juju is next up in the queue, and you could possibly be getting Hollywood Brown back in a couple of weeks, and you also activated Charles Omenihu so he could go for this team could be coming out on the other side of the injury bug. They got bit by the injury bug heavy there for a couple of weeks. Every week, somebody was going down. Isaiah Pacheco was going down, Rashee Rice, Juju Smith-Schuster. They had a lot of injuries over a short amount of time. The injury bug has slowed down a little bit for the Chiefs. They're coming out on the other side, and a lot of the guys who either were hurt and banged up in the first half of the season or simply just haven't played for them at all this season, those guys are starting to get healthy. Those guys are starting to get right. You could have Juju back for this game. You could have Isaiah Pacheco back by the end of the month. You could have Charles Omenihu back by the end of the month, and you could be having Hollywood Brown come back before Christmas time. Right now, it is just about holding on. I don't mean that like in a negative sense, but just if you can be 14-1 team and you're getting all those guys back and those guys are starting to kind of play themselves into football shape and get ready for the stretch run, you really give yourself, Rob, a chance to do something special.
The Chiefs are in a near perfect situation. They are undefeated and they look like, if not the top team in the NFL, one of the top 3 teams in the league. No one has them beneath 2 or 3 in a power rankings. Not that power rankings don't matter. And you could say, despite the trade deadline having passed, they're about to make multiple additions to their roster. Isaiah Pacheco, despite what the text line tells me, or at least the Kareem Hunt hive tells me, is an upgrade over Kareem Hunt. Charles Omenihu is an upgrade over Anyudike Uzama. And Juju Smith-Schuster is an upgrade at this point over Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy, it's similar to what you said about Kingsley earlier this hour. Doesn't mean he's a bust. Doesn't mean he's done. Doesn't mean he's cooked. But Juju Smith-Schuster is more important for the team than Xavier Worthy at this point in time because of the trust factor. You are potentially adding those 3 veterans back into the fold right when we start playing more Mariah Carey. Right when you see your neighbor put the Christmas lights up. Right when you are sitting down on a Friday night with the family and watching the Griswolds, Isaiah Pacheco could be running and relatively fresh again. Juju Smith-Schuster could be playing wide receiver, and Charles Omenihu could be basically an edge rusher only and cause real problems for the team. It is a near perfect scenario.
How much more time do we have left in here?
You got about 2.5 minutes.
Okay, because you just got me to think something that I think I can say this now and that this is a safe space. Because you got my mind going when you said the Griswolds. Kind of overrated Christmas movie, but you know what? That's neither here nor there. I don't want to argue about that. It's not my point. Is this a safe space to say that I'm kind of tired of watching A Christmas Story? I was thinking that. Now, I don't know if you did this, Rob, when you were a kid, but you remember, I think it was either TNT or TBS. They're owned by the same people, so it's the same thing. But you remember where TNT and TBS would do that 24-hour marathon where that's all they would show on Christmas Eve leading into Christmas? If I had to be honest with you guys about the movie that I have seen the most, number one is Christmas Story. Even though you only watch it once a year, but I would probably watch it 4 or 5 times over the course of a day and a half. It was just always on. It was my mom's favorite Christmas movie. So I've seen it a bunch. I don't know if I need to see it anymore. I really don't. I don't know if I need to watch Christmas Story anymore. We need new Christmas classics. That's what we need. When's the last time they made a Christmas classic, Rob? Is that Night Before?
I mean, you're going to go see Red One with The Rock? And...
I am excited to see that movie. I can't lie. I am excited to see that. I liked that Violent Night last year. I liked that. That was good. That was funny. I thought that. I enjoyed that movie. It was good. All right. Commercial-free 5 o'clock hour. We did it. Thank you so much for listening. I know some of you got college basketball to watch. I'm really excited about the second game. The first game's, how many years do we got to see KU pummel on Michigan State in this Champions Classic? Yo, you got to win a championship in the last 20 years for you to be a part of the Champions Classic. Can we please let's kick Michigan State out and let's bring up UConn. I'm tired of this. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.